Medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-841-0007. That's 1-800-841-0007. Call 1-800-841-0007.
Need a hot tub? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. Need your transmission flushed? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. Need pizza? Go to OregonEdeals.com and save big. You hearing a theme here? Check out today's discounts at OregonEdeals.com.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman to save money.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
With our eye on the stock tickers, this is the Wake Up Call Business Report on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Walgreens Boots Alliance, which just agreed to buy the drugstore chain Rite Aid, reported profit today that topped analyst estimates as its pharmacies filled more prescriptions and the company cut costs. Walgreens drug counters filled 222 million prescriptions in the quarter, up 4.6% from the year before. But shares are slipping in pre-market trading, and Rite Aid is down almost 8% before the opening bell. Mondelez, the big food maker, beats estimates in its latest quarter. Twitter shares are down about 11% in pre-market trading after predicting fourth quarter sales growth below analyst estimates amid a slowdown in user expansion. Shares of Apple are higher before the opening bell. They're up about 2% in pre-market trading after the company posted quarterly profit and revenue that exceeded analyst estimates and forecast record holiday sales. Crude oil is higher by 0.7% at $43.51 a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Your alarm might be going off right this second. What's it like to get it up at 6:30? What's it like to, well, what's it like right now? What are you experiencing with your mattress? If it's been a couple of years, like more than 5, heading more to 10, 15 plus, we won't talk about the inner workings, because at that point, the workings have taken the day off and they have taken a permanent vacation. Why don't you go check out what a mattress feels like in 2015? Just, you know what? Just to maybe take a siesta. You talking about a test lay? Go experience a mattress? Go take one for like 45 minutes. At Sleep Train, they welcome it. And elsewhere, you might not be left alone for that amount of time. At Sleep Train, they want you to make the right decision. They're there to answer any questions, to give you all the 411. The updates on the 100 low price guarantee, where after day 98, you're still not feeling it? I give it a chance. Sleep Train will do what they do to make it right. Same day delivery. Just one of the many perks and benefits that you get by going through Sleep Train. A lot of repeat customers and a lot of people checking out. Mattress price wars.
Yep. So head into Sleep Train today. They're going to save you a whole bunch of money on a great variety of really comfortable mattresses that will change your life through more sleep. It's Sleep Train, Albany, Corvallis, Eugene, and Springfield. And tell them Rob and Bill from the Wake Up Call suggested that you go in and, well, take the test leg. It's free.
See a problem on the commute? Be an official KPNW Wake Up Call Road Ranger today. Call 541-344-2424 and report it. Dakota Ring and Road Ranger Keep and Sombrero sold separately. The Road Ranger Network, exclusively on 1120 KPNW.
Trying to negotiate the email that we have now to see if I had a name for the Road Ranger that reported the situation out there in Springfield. Looks like the 42nd Street on-ramp, more on, it sounds like it's more on 42nd Street, but if you're headed to 126 westbound, you'll encounter an overturned truck that hopefully is in the clearing stages. That came across, well, about 20 of 6. So that might be too, oh boy, just what you want on it. I mean, just what you want any day, but especially on the wet day to have to be out there and trying to right the truck. That being said, too, just be advised, a little standing water, some slippery, some slick leaves out there. Haven't had a lot of rain, so people probably out of practice. Right?
Yeah, out of practice. That always amuses me. I forgot how to drive in the rain. Okay. Really?
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess people here just have no short-term memory.
Have no short-term memory?
Yeah, they have no short-term or long-term memory. Oh, wait, this wet stuff on the sidewalk and the pavement, does it thing slick? Will it make what? Will it make my car handle differently? I don't understand. So did do this last time?
Don Essig is
hey Don.
I think his goal is to be in the box in the booth at Autzen. I think wasn't his goal, was it 50 years? Because I think he's coming up on like kind of a iconic number.
Yeah.
Do you think Betty does she have an iconic, do you think she's trying to, I mean, is her goal to make it to 100?
It's potential. I mean, it could be one of those things that is long, and maybe she has one of those fixations that as long as she stays on the board, on the city council, that is to say, she'll continue to go on into infinity.
Well, I mean, and a lot of people, I think, feel that way in their own life, where if they're doing something and they're successful at what they do, it keeps them occupied, it keeps them engaged in life. And as long as you're the voice for
whatever, movable chairs,
movable, yeah,
movable chairs, so people can have a conversation.
If you feel like you're doing what you should be doing and you're making a difference, why wouldn't you run again?
Absolutely.
How many?
This will be your 6th.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
This would be your 6th. Mm-hmm. Betty Taylor's 6th. I was noticing. I was looking at the picture. It was on. I think it was on. I don't remember which website it was on. Anyway, I was looking at her picture, and it occurred to me that if you put the right kind of dark shawl on her, she would look just exactly like the Emperor from the first Star Wars movies. She potentially could be, she could potentially be one of those folks that can have lightning shoot out of her hands.
Well, that would be unfair.
And take down a Jedi.
Well, of course she's going to win.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check. Do you have a name handy?
Feel the anger flowing through you.
What's the name of the first of the? Just Google.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, he was Darth Vader's boss.
Oh, of course. Okay. All right. Hey, it's already Leafs wheel time. Any what's versing today? Any incredible stories?
Lease wheelery? I mean, what are we going to be chatting with the lease about?
Yeah, is there any story that you think is going to get riled?
Oh, probably the school that is next Halloween in the name of diversity. I don't know. Probably that one's going to get a little bit of chat this morning.
Okay. All right. That's coming up next, 11:20 KPNW.
Brad's Cottage Grove Chevy GMC. Low prices and award-winning service. Fall is here, and it's the perfect time to cut your cost on a new Husqvarna zero-turn mower. Purchase select zero turns from October 12th to November 15th, and you'll qualify for a $250 Visa prepaid card. Engineered and tested in the toughest environments, Husqvarna zero-turn mowers are powerful, ergonomic, and packed with innovation. So no matter what challenge you're up against, you're always ready. If you want to cash in on a great fall deal, let Husqvarna put $250 in your wallet before the holidays. Visit All Seasons Equipment on West 7th and Eugene, or online at allseasonsequipment.net.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
We all know those iconic words, spoken by Lou Gehrig 75 years ago. We all know the ball player, the durable Iron Horse, who played in 2,130 consecutive games. Lou ended his speech with a message of hope.
Been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for.
2 years later, the pride of the Yankees died of the terrible illness that bears his name, Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS. Although there is still no cure, the reason for hope is stronger than ever. Help bring us even closer to a research breakthrough for ALS. Join the team. Join the ALS Association in the fight to find treatments and a cure for ALS. Go to alsa.org/75 for more information.
As a young teenage boy, I didn't even know what autism was. How do you even spell that? A few years later, I heard that a friend's cousin's son had been diagnosed with autism. I still wasn't sure what that really meant.
When I went to college, my roommate's brother had autism. When I moved to the city for work, my best friend called me and told me his son had been diagnosed with autism. We were both in shock. I still remember the day I walked into the house and saw that look on my wife's face. I knew something was wrong. I'll never forget how I felt when she said, "Our son has autism."
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Weather every 10 minutes during the wake-up call. Count on it. News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, you need to take your umbrella. We've been tracking showers off and on throughout the night as the cold front's moving through the area. Now, temps out there right now in the upper 40s to low 50s. We've got winds out of the west at 5 to 10 with a few gusts up to 15. And we are looking to pick up about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. Now, throughout your day, we expect light rain off and on. And we are expecting another burst of energy this evening to bring another 1/4 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch. Today's highs will be in the mid to low 60s out there under mostly cloudy skies. We may get a couple hours around lunch of partly cloudy, but both systems look to be on target. Now, we are tracking another system for the weekend, maybe bringing showers in just in time for the trick-or-treaters. We'll keep a close eye on it for you, but it's starting to look like a wet Halloween. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Mornings are a little different with a wake-up call.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Holloway in London. On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Don't forget, we have a traffic problem. Overturned truck on the 42nd Street on-ramp to 126 West. So that's going to take a while before they get that cleaned up. And it happened, of course, just in time for your morning drive, your commute. Lucky you. Waiting right now for Lise Wheel to be joining us on the wake-up call this morning. By the way, I'm not saying it's perfect, but we have the live stream, the video stream up and going. You can go to YouTube, KPNW Wake-Up Call, all one word. So that's YouTube, KPNW Wake-Up Call, all crunched together as one word. Anyway, joining us on the wake-up call this morning, hey, look who's here. Lise Wheel, Fox News legal analyst and author extraordinaire, joining us on the wake-up call. Hi, Lise.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So is it as nasty, ugly, and rainy there on the...
It's supposed to be. I mean, I'm looking outside my office here on 6th Avenue, and it's getting dark and kind of gloomy looking. So it's supposed to be just kind of torrential this afternoon. So I brought my umbrella, so we'll see.
All right. You folks on the East Coast, we don't understand you out here.
What do you mean?
The whole umbrella thing. We don't get it. And here in Oregon, you never see anybody with umbrellas.
Even when it's really pouring?
Not really. Very rarely. Yeah, it's just,
I mean,
don't know.
I pretty much grew up in Seattle, and we always had umbrellas there.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess the technology just never made it down here.
I guess that's right.
All right, so let's take a look at a couple of the stories, the legal stories going on. Maplewood School District has nixed Halloween in the name of diversity in New Jersey. What does diversity have to do with Halloween?
They're saying that for 20% of the kids that are there, there's a cultural or religious aspect to it, and they don't want to celebrate Halloween. So because of that 20%, they're saying, all right, we're not going to have Halloween for anybody. Which is just really kind of sad. I mean, next is going to be Valentine's Day because it's St. Valentine's, right? So you've got these sweet little holidays that I think are sweet for kids. I'm not even talking about the candy. I just think the idea of it's sweet. They dress up in costumes and, go door from door with their family. Or they have these Halloween parties at school.
Learn how to panhandle.
Exactly. It's kind of cute.
Teaching them how to be travelers.
Exactly. That's all good. And, yeah, because of this 20%, they're saying, no Halloween parties at all.
So if it was 10%, would they go for it, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think they'd say if there's anybody there that's going to feel uncomfortable, have a religious or cultural problem with it, we're not going to have it. But the problem, again, like with that is really you have to cancel. I mean, you could come up with something for almost every holiday. Certainly St. Valentine's would be the next to go.
Oh, so it has to do with St. Valentine's. See, I thought it all had to do with that shooting in Chicago. I thought that was the just a remembrance of that in candy. See how silly I am?
Okay.
Anyway, okay, moving on. This one probably is going to have more of an effect. Lawmakers mulling eliminating required legal counsel in guardianship cases.
Yeah, this stems from a mother in Utah who has a kid who turned 18, but who does not have the mental capacity of an 18-year-old, has the mental capacity of, like a child, but can't really function, can't do anything, autism. And so, she's saying, I shouldn't have to go through all this legal wranglings and everything like that. I need to be able to take care of my child. You shouldn't make it so expensive for me to go through all the court proceedings. And Utah is saying, lady's got a real case there. It does make sense for her to have to go through all that legal wrangling when she really is and should be the guardian of this child who has autism and needs her help.
What's the argument against him?
That this kid is 18 of age, that you've got to have some legal procedures in line. You don't want the kid to be taken advantage of, obviously. So I think that's what the wrangling is over. I think though in the end that it just makes sense for people who have children with autism or something like that, where they really don't have any really function or capability to take care of themselves, should be able to not cost $365, which it was for the filing fee even, to get legal guardianship. That's too much for a lot of people.
Final story. School wants a kid charged with assault for tossing a baby carrot at a teacher. So I take it this kid was maybe a pitcher on the baseball team, that he had some good spin on it.
14-year-old girl, and she...
come on. We've got softball players out here that can throw almost 100 miles an hour.
Well, but what the kid says is, look, this is a former teacher of mine, French teacher, and she was walking down the hallway, the teacher was, with her kind of nose in the books, and she said, I just threw the carrot kind of intending to hit her papers to, get her to look up and see me and say hi to me. And instead it hit her in the forehead, and hence now she's suspended for a month and maybe looking at assault and battery charges.
Will any DA actually file on that?
I wouldn't think so. No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, they take a look at this and say, look, kid didn't intend to hurt her. Yeah, it hit her forehead. Sorry, but there was no intent there to do anything wrong. And so just leave the kid. Let the kid be. Let the kid be.
Did it leave a knot? Did it leave her bruised? Did it cut her in some way?
No, I don't think so. The little baby soft carrot. Those little tiny things you bring in your lunch pail sometimes?
Yeah.
Nah.
Why is the school district wanting to push it that hard?
Because I think they just have zero tolerance. It's a zero-tolerance school district. And so if you have zero tolerance, you have zero tolerance. You can't even, have that kind of thing happen.
Are we ever going to see any backtracking on these so-called zero-tolerance policies?
I hope
because
so.
They've gotten, I mean, like this. They just get to the point of ridiculous.
They're out of hand, exactly. And
have any school districts been sued over their zero-tolerance policies and have the plaintiffs won?
Not
in those
that
cases?
I know of, because, it is legal to have these policies. It's just that what it does is it takes away any kind of judgment from the teachers or the administrators. So they have no judgment, no judgment call in doing anything anymore because of the zero tolerance policy. And I just think that's just sad. I mean, assuming we have legislators or principals and school people that have judgment, decent judgment, they should be allowed to use it, exercise it, and they can't with the zero tolerance policies.
All right. Final question. When's your new book coming out?
Oh, The Newsmakers comes out January 19th.
All right. So we're going to tease this every week until January 19th.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Lise, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rain.
You too. I will. I kind of like it, actually.
And make sure that you have your technologically advanced umbrella thing.
Here.
All right. Good luck.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lise. It is 6:48, News Radio 1120 KPNW. Writes Jeff off the email, Darth Taylor can move the downtown benches using the power of the Force. Yoda would say, there is no try. There is only sit. Good point, Jeff.
There's only what?
Sit.
Oh.
What? Only sit. He's got a point there. She could just move those around by herself.
Who is that from? Jeff?
Jeff, yeah.
Okay, because I have another email from Jeff. Said, I just wanted to give a shout-out to the bicyclists I saw this morning riding in the pitch-dark rain with no headlight or reflectors. 911 is going to be too busy to respond to your inevitable accident because they will already be attending to the other 4 bicyclists I passed with no headlight, reflector, or helmet. How do you even... if you're going longer than a block, how do you even see? Especially with standing water and some of the rocky, cavernous holes that we have. That seems...
as long as you're on that gigantic bike overpass with the pretty red lights on it. The white lights, when it goes over I-5. And you got the red lights that go over Delta out here. So
that is pretty, isn't it?
Yeah,
so if you can just stay on that bridge,
yeah, you're fine.
You're good.
Yeah, just go back and forth over the bridge. You'll be great.
You have to wonder what,
how much that costs a year to light the thing?
No, to get helmets, reflectors, a light. I know, you can spend big bucks because, they've got, they don't have what we have anymore. They've advanced in their technology. But if you go to, Goodwill, St. Vinny's, just until you can get, a better one, you can get something to be seen at 6:51 in the morning.
I'm thinking you cover yourself with light sticks.
Mm-hmm. Even, yeah, some sparklers.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Look good in them. Admit it.
Road-wise, it looks like 58 has been dealt with. There was unconfirmed reports of vegetation, but we do have the situation there at the 42nd Street westbound on-ramp to 126 in Springfield. An overturned truck, hopefully somewhat close to the clearing stages, but just don't count on it. I would avoid that if you could. And let us know. Anything else in Eugene, Springfield, or surrounding areas that you see, we'll pass it on. 6:52, News Radio 1120 KPNW, wet and 53 at KPNW.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson, co-host of Real Estate Today. Kurt Large and Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company if I need to understand a roofing system, how to maintain the roof, should it be replaced, and if it is to be replaced, what should be done. He is absolutely the expert's expert. Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company.
To find out more about Evergreen Roofing, just go to their website, evergreenroofing.com.
Summer never ends at the River House Hotel in Bend. Now is the perfect time to escape and enjoy sunshine and outdoor adventure. You'll be delighted with a stay at the River House Hotel located on the banks of the Deschutes River. Spacious guest rooms, a full-service restaurant and bar, and easy access to all the adventure Central Oregon has to offer. Conveniently located to downtown Bend and the Old Mill District, the River House puts everything at your fingertips. Enjoy our indoor and outdoor pools and spas. Tee it up at River's Edge Golf Course. Stroll along our scenic river trail or walk to over 30 boutiques and specialty shops nearby. At night, cozy up to a spa or fireplace and order room service. Or indulge in one of the most memorable meals you'll ever have at Crossings, our award-winning restaurant. It's a perfect time to get away and take advantage of Summer Never Ends special value rates. For reservations and special offers, visit us online at riverhouse.com.
My name is Dr. Nathalie Johnson, and Coleman, Oregon and Southwest Washington is a personal cause for me. I am a breast cancer surgeon at Legacy and a breast cancer survivor. 71 people will be diagnosed with breast cancer every week in our region. Through Coleman, your gift delivers important breast health education, provides mammograms, offers emotional and financial support, and supports cutting-edge research in Oregon. Make a difference today. Get involved and donate at ColemanOregon.org.
Sponsored by Coleman, Oregon, and aired by the Oregon Association of Broadcasters.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. Bull market correction or bear market, the difference matters. If the recent violent action in the stock market is just a normal correction in a bull market, you probably want to calm your gut and add to your holdings. On the other hand, if it's a bear, you want out. Maybe not all the way out, but mostly out. So how do you tell the difference? There have been two genuine bear markets in the last 20 years, according to Jared Dillon of Malden Economics. The first was caused by the dot-com bust, arguably the biggest stock market bubble in our history. And the other was a result of the biggest housing and debt crisis ever. Both good reasons for a raging bear market. So what about other events over this time slice? And yes, I know history goes back further than that. But market mechanics are somewhat different now, even though human psychology isn't. Here's the nugget. Other scary events in the last couple of decades include the Asian financial crisis in 1997, the Russian default and implosion of long-term capital management a year later, 9/11, and the Greek crisis that caused the sell-off in 2011. All buying opportunities, though scary at the time. And now? Is the trouble in China more like these corrections, or is it truly a crisis? More soon. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
The most accurate forecast now. We have weather every 10 minutes during Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, you need to grab your umbrella. We've been tracking showers all night moving through the area associated with a powerful cold front. Now, we do have winds out of the west at 5 to 10 with gusts up to 15, mostly cloudy skies. And temps out there right now are in the upper 40s to low 50s. We look to pick up about a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch. Now, throughout your day, we're going to see light rain off and on. We see another burst of energy late this evening, bringing another tenth of an inch. We will reach a high of 61 here in town with everyone else in the low 60s out there. We are tracking another system for the weekend that looks to bring Halloween, maybe on the wet side. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and enjoy the rain.
It's your money. And this is your Wake Up Call Market Report on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are edging higher in early trading as investors assess the latest round of earnings and await a Federal Reserve statement. The Dow is up 47 points at 17,627. The S&P 500 is up 3 at 2069, and the Nasdaq is little changed. Shares of Apple are higher. They're up almost 2% after late yesterday posting quarterly profit and revenue that exceeded analyst estimates. Apple also forecast a record holiday sales. But Twitter is down almost 10% after predicting weaker than estimated sales growth. And Rite Aid is lower by almost 8% after Walgreens Boots Alliance agreed to acquire the drugstore chain in a $17 billion deal. Investors are also awaiting earnings from other companies today, including PayPal and Marriott International. Crude oil is higher, up 1.25% at $43.75 a barrel. Meanwhile, traders are betting against an interest rate increase at today's Fed announcement. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Los Angeles Times has committed a random act of journalism. They dug into the details of the high-speed train supposed to link San Francisco and Los Angeles by 2022. The short take is that the high-speed train's a slow-motion disaster. When voters first approved the plan 7 years ago, the cost estimate was $33 billion. The first phase of building started this year, 2 years late. Today, the train project's slated to cost $68 billion, and don't expect the final bill to come anywhere close to that. The California High-Speed Rail Authority still has not chosen the exact route that this train's going to take. Plans call for tunnels to be built through 36 miles of mountains north of L.A. That's a geological nightmare, crossing the North American and Pacific tectonic plates. That means tunneling through a maze of earthquake faults, some of which haven't even been mapped. Experts predict massive delays, and with those delays come even more cost overruns. Now, besides construction difficulties, the high-speed train faces other problems. So far, the project is far behind on land acquisition, financing, and permit approvals. Multiple lawsuits remain unresolved, and there's never been a projected ridership to justify the cost of building this thing. America's not Europe, folks. We prefer cars to trains, especially in California. If this project is completed, it'll no doubt be one of the biggest boondoggles in history, a stupid, expensive monument to big government liberalism. Means it probably will happen. You know the story, Hansel and Gretel. Hansel left breadcrumbs on the trail so they could find their way back home. Well, that's what you do when you use public Wi-Fi or when you shop online. You leave breadcrumbs on the trail for someone to possibly steal your identity and take everything you own. LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect signs that someone has picked up your breadcrumbs. And unlike free credit monitoring services that only alert you, they have a dedicated resolution staff to help clean things up if all of those breadcrumbs get messy. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but with LifeLock, you can keep doing the things you do and feel better protected. Plans start at only $9.99 a month. Call or visit LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RUSH. That's RUSH. And save 10% on your membership. Call 800-440-4833. LifeLock 800-440-4833.
Fox News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Will a South Carolina sheriff's deputy be fired for what he did at a high school?
I've never seen anything so nasty looking, so sick.
He's one of the students who took videos that have gone viral showing a girl being thrown to the ground, dragged from her desk, and arrested for distributing or disturbing her class and refusing to leave. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Well, the sheriff could decide on Deputy Ben Field's employment status as early as today. And that video, parents and community members talked about it last night at a school district meeting.
She chose to not comply. She chose to be defiant.
To see something like this happen does sadden my heart. But at any rate, it's a child. It's not an animal.
The teen is black, the officer white. The FBI and the DOJ are now looking into the incident, Dave.
Tanya, former House Speaker Dennis Hastert has just pleaded guilty in federal court in Chicago to trying to hide huge hush money payments to someone to keep his past misconduct a secret. Hastert also lied to investigators about it. Prosecutors are seeking up to 6 months in prison. The next House Speaker, likely to be voted in tomorrow, Paul Ryan, has come out in support of the 2-year budget deal Republicans worked out with the White House that averts debt limit and government shutdown showdowns.
What has been produced will go a long way toward relieving the uncertainty hanging over us, and that's why I intend to support it. Ryan sees this deal as an opportunity to wipe the slate clean.
That's Fox's Mike Emanuel at the Capitol. The Republican earlier said this budget process stinks. A new assessment of 4th and 8th graders shows they have worse
worse math scores than 2 years ago, and the 8th graders are also falling behind in reading. In San Francisco, Board of Supervisors has approved an ordinance that requires video recordings of all gun sales, which could later be used in criminal investigations. However, the city's only gun shop said it would close for good rather than subject customers to that kind of surveillance. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
U.S. Bank provides custom solutions to help you grow your business. We take care of the heavy lifting so you can concentrate on what's important. Whether you've just started in a friend's apartment.
All set. Now, if I could just use your printer.
Printer? What printer?
But...
Or opened your first office.
We have a printer.
There goes the printer.
Or if you've recently expanded your office.
Check out all the people in line for this printer.
Or maybe you've opened a new location.
We have so many printers.
Or transitioned your business to new ownership.
I never want to see another printer again.
You'll have a business banker there to guide you every step of the way. Visit your local U.S. Bank branch or usbank.com/business.
I've got a great idea for my next business.
Cool. Print it out and let me see it.
I'm just gonna email it.
Credit products are subject to normal credit approval and program guidelines. Some restrictions and fees may apply. See your banker for details. Deposit products offered by U.S. Bank, National Association, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Stocks are up on Wall Street ahead of the latest news from the Fed. Fox Business Network's Nicole Pedalini's live at the New York Stock Exchange.
We plan to hear from the Fed this afternoon. Fed policy, Fed language will be in focus. And, of course, any hints of a rate hike coming maybe at the end of the year. The Dow Jones Industrial Average right now up 76 points at 17,656, led by Pfizer, Apple, IBM, and Caterpillar. Apple came out with its quarterly report, strong iPhone sales, and the stock is up about 2%. Walgreens agreed to buy Rite Aid, and both of those stocks are to the downside, but Rite Aid did gain more than 40% yesterday, and Twitter under pressure after slow user growth. Dave?
Nicole, the price of oil is up more than $1, over 44 bucks a barrel again. Gas is down a fraction, though. AAA's average for regular is below $2.20 a gallon. Volkswagen is paying for its emissions cheating scandal in diesel cars.
Volkswagen posting its first quarterly loss in at least 15 years, $3.8 billion between July and September. The company has set aside $7 billion as it prepares to face fines around the world for rigging the results of emissions tests, as exposed by U.S. regulators. VW also admitting that $7 billion is likely just a start. However, some analysts saying it's still a robust balance sheet, suggesting Volkswagen should be able to cope with the costs of penalties, refits and lawsuits. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News Radio.
An epic start to the World Series that finished in the 14th inning.
Into right, Granderson back, Escobar tags. Here comes Escobar. The Royals win game one.
The Royals beat the Mets 5-4 in a 5+ hour marathon on Fox. It was the longest World Series opener ever. Alex Gordon's home run in the bottom of the ninth tied it for Kansas City, forcing the next extra innings. Game 2 is tonight. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Five hours. That's a long baseball game, Papa. It's 11:20 KPNW, 7:05, Wednesday, October 28th. With the rain, and more rain. Your Chris Nation forecast looking like this, a 90% chance of rain with 64 for the high continuing into tonight. And your advanced forecast talks about raindrops on Halloween. So you might want to incorporate some latex, some kind of rubber, maybe a fisherman's outfit. It's going to be wet. Currently wet, dark, and 52 degrees at 11:20 KPNW. And we got issues everywhere.
Yeah, one of them is out on Clear Lake Road near the spillway that's out by the dam. We've got something going on out there, so slowing stuff down.
Overturned truck on the 42nd Street on-ramp heading on to westbound 126. As far as we know, that is still an issue. I don't think you right a truck, 20 minutes and you're done. Hopefully that does get remedied in the next couple of minutes as we get closer and closer to the rush hour in the SPR. Anything else you see, let us know. 541-485 KPNW, some standing water. Boy, it is wet out there, so just know that. take the precautions and be careful. So you sit there and you think about what you're going to accomplish today and tomorrow, even into the next week. There's a guy in Orlando who's camped out in front of a Best Buy, and he's there for Black Friday. So you sit there and you think, okay, October 28th, he is, all told, it's going to be over a month before they open up Best Buy deals on Black Friday. He says he's doing it to raise awareness for homeless children, which I think is a worthy cause. And if he accomplishes that and is able to, bring attention to it, then I think that's, that's great. Oh, and also to get a big TV. So, is it, you sit there and you think about the baseball game, 5 hours, and people are going to have a tough time getting to work. Is there anything that it would take a month out of your life to devote yourself to that isn't, you'd have to take off work, probably a little bit of work, and
how old is the guy?
How old is he?
Yeah. I was gonna say, well, I guess if you're retired, you don't have anything else going on in your life. No, go down and sit at Walmart for the next couple of months.
Best Buy.
Does
that change anything?
No.
But if you're going, taking a month out and going, the outback of Oregon or going into the Cascades, no argument. You're not going to get us, talking about it or people talking about it nationwide, but that's a long time. And like I said, if he does bring attention to it and he can,
I'm not a fan.
Solve something, huh?
I'm not a fan of the idea.
Well,
no, sir, not a fan of the idea.
If he does bring light to it and can make a difference, then power to him. Just to know that he's out there a month and 3 days before they get into Black Friday. If you can incorporate it with something other than the retail aspect of it, like if he wasn't getting the TV and he was up on a billboard or, I don't know, something, I think we could maybe give him the wake-up call salute, but I don't know about just camping in a parking lot. Anyway.
Yeah, you can do that in Eugene anywhere. We'll have these stories coming up in just a matter of moments. Oh, speaking of travelers, guess what? Eugene City Mayor Kitty Piercy wants the governor to declare a state of emergency on homelessness here in the state of Oregon. We'll tell you about a resolution that she is going to have the city council vote on today. We'll also take a look at a murder investigation going on in Eugene. We'll follow up on the story of the Lane County Board of Commissioners considering some pretty dramatic raises for some county workers that are not currently represented by the unions. Those stories and more brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on News Radio 1120 KPNW. Burrito Amigos and game day. You can't beat them. Having a game night in while the team is on the road? Well, invite all your amigos over and let Burrito Amigos supply the eats. Call in an order, pick it up, and it's party on. On the hot side, I suggest Fire Bites. They're deep-fried jalapeno slices, or treat your guests to cheese-filled jalapenos, pepitas. Or go deep with tacos, taquitos, and nachos. And Burrito Amigos taco salads are so big, everyone can dig in. Now, on the side, you can supply the chips while Burrito Amigos supplies the fresh beans, rice, and salsa to dip those chips in. If you want to plan ahead, stop by the night before and get some fresh, cold tamales by the dozen and nuke them at home the day of the game. Here's your Burrito Amigos helpful hint. When you go the tamale route, take home some mole or the thick, cheesy, spicy poblano soup to use as sauce over the tamales. Better yet, use both. And, of course, all of this is great for tailgate parties. You might even go the burrito route. Burrito Amigos all over Eugene and Springfield. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I can tell you there are some weekends where you may even like Burrito Amigos better than the game.
It's time to save at the fall clearance sales event going on right now at the Hertz Car Sales Superstores. The better way to buy a car.
Hey folks, Scott Hoysh here from Hertz Car Sales in Eugene. It's been such an exciting time here at Hertz Car Sales Superstore. Over the last few months, our inventory has nearly doubled. And as our customers have discovered, more inventory equals more choices and lower prices for you. And with more than 1,000 vehicles in our Superstore inventory, you're sure to find the choice and savings all in one place for all types of credit. It also means we're hosting our biggest fall clearance sales event ever at Hertz Car Sales right here in Eugene. During the fall clearance sales event, on approved credit, you can get 1.99% financing up to 60 months and no payments for 3 months. Remember, only at Beltline and West 11th, where Hertz Car Sales Superstore will save you money.
Stop in and see our biggest selection in years on West 11th, just off the Beltline, and always online at HertzEugene.com. Hertz Car Sales of Eugene, the better way to buy a car.
Ramjack has your foundation solution. Ramjack can fix that.
CCB 146906. It's the big happenings in the Valley and the state.
This is the Wake Up Call on 1120 KPNW with Bill London.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, what turned out to be, or started out to be, a burglary call on Compton Street in Eugene Tuesday quickly turned into something much more grim.
Upon their arrival, they found the deceased inside the residence under suspicious circumstances. Search was then conducted by a canine officer.
Eugene Police Captain Sherry Meisel says it didn't take long for the canine to pick up the scent.
And that was tracked to a location not far away near a pond where a second person was found of an apparent suicide.
43-year-old Athena Slavin, the mother of a minor son, was the victim found in the house. The suspected killer and man who committed suicide was 44-year-old Jeffrey Brian March.
They had been in a relationship prior to this incident. However, at this time, they were no longer involved with each other.
Meisel said they believe the woman was alone in the house at the time and her child was staying elsewhere. The medical examiner will determine and release the cause of deaths at a later time. Eugene's transient travelers problem has been an issue for years in Eugene. Now Mayor Kitty Piercy, a strong proponent of programs that some critics say attracts transients to the city, wants the governor to declare a state of emergency on homelessness. Piercy wants the city council to vote today on a resolution similar to the Portland City Council request of Governor Kate Brown. Piercy's draft resolution claims the city needs resources from the state and the federal government to address the problem. The council will meet at noon today to debate the issue. The Lane County Board of Commissioners heard a proposal to offer pay raises for the county's non-union employees. The pay increase is expected to cost the county around $867,000 over the next budget year if adopted. Social media lit up when the raises were first floated last week. However, only one person showed up to speak against the proposal. The proposal was made, according to county HR official Marcia Edwards, after years of no raises for many of the county's higher-paid employees. The raises, as proposed, range anywhere from 4 cents an hour up to 14%. Board Chair Jay Bozovich is in favor of the proposal and suggested that paying more for some of the employees actually saves money.
We don't do the kind of budgeting innovation we do without the help of the non-rep folks in our budget office. We don't get to some of these cost savings without the right people in these positions. And I think it's very short-sighted of us to think that we can't be competitive in the marketplace.
The raises are based on a comparative study done on the other Oregon counties' pay structures. In the end, the board delayed a vote on the raises based on a need for more information and for a chance to try and convince the public why the raises are necessary. The City of Eugene Civilian Review Board last night met to discuss the shooting death of Brian Babb. Babb was a military vet under 100% disability for PTSD when he was fatally shot in the head during a standoff with police. He was having a mental breakdown when a psychologist called police. The problem and the police response escalated until Babb stepped out onto his porch with a rifle and was shot in the head by an officer in an armored vehicle. Since the shooting, Eugene police have adopted a series of drastic changes to policy dealing with their response to barricaded subjects, distraught vets, and those with mental issues. The shooting had been deemed justified by the Lane County DA, the police chief, Pete Kearns, and the Lane County Interagency Deadly Force Investigation Team. Last night, the review board essentially agreed with those findings. However, they criticized the Deadly Force Investigation Team for conducting a sloppy investigation. 90-year-old South Eugene City Councilor Betty Taylor has decided to run again.
Taylor filed her re-election papers on Monday. No one has yet stepped up to challenge Taylor, who has been on the city council since 1997. If anyone decides to run against Taylor, they'll likely attack her for not fulfilling one of her promises from the last election process.
And we need movable chairs downtown so people can meet for conversations.
As of yet, no movable chairs for conversations. Well, Betty? Cottage Grove appears to be moving towards banning tobacco products, including vaping, from public parks and playgrounds. The city council there have been considering a ban for a while. Councilor Mike Fleck believes that it does make sense to protect kids from secondhand smoke.
But I also really value freedom, and I want to make sure that we're not overly zealous.
Fleck wants councilors to consider creating smoking and chewing areas in the more well-used Cottage Grove parks. The legalization of marijuana in Oregon has health officials warning about Halloween dangers. Brad Ford reports.
You can't buy recreational edible marijuana products in Oregon until next year, but they can be made at home, and that can be dangerous for kids. Edibles are legal in Washington State, and Clark County Health Officer Alan Melnick says children's smaller bodies cause the edible products to have a greater effect.
They can get marijuana intoxication pretty easily.
Edibles often come in the form of cookies, brownies, or candies.
Because they're sweet and they're like candy or cake, children can get pretty high dosage.
Melnick says anyone with edible marijuana products needs to treat them responsibly, and especially keep them out of the reach of children and pets. Brad Ford, KPNW.
A bill to outlaw ivory sales stalled in the Oregon legislature earlier this year, so animal welfare advocates are taking their cause directly to voters. The measure would go even further, aiming to end the sale of products derived from a variety of endangered or heavily poached animals, including elephants, rhinos, lions, sea turtles, and sharks. It comes as other states and the federal government look to end much of the legal market for ivory. By making most ivory illegal to sell, the proponents hope to tamp down demand for exotic animal parts and discourage poaching in Africa and Asia. Critics say criminalizing the sale of parts from animals killed decades ago will do absolutely zero to stop poachers responsible for killings of elephants and other animals today. The battle for a $25 million bond for a new jail in Benton County is heating up. Backers of a measure to finance a new jail recently filed a formal complaint against the leader of a group that opposes money for the jail. Curtis Wright, co-director of Citizens for a Safe Benton County, filed a formal complaint with the Oregon Elections Division claiming that citizens against the new jail chairman, David Grappo, violated state election laws by not filing contributions and election reports. Grappo told the Gazette-Times he misunderstood the filing process, but had recently fixed the problem. Measure 2-91 would authorize up to $25 million in bonds in Benton County to force a 112-bed jail to be built in Philomath, replacing a 40-bed facility next to the county courthouse. An investigation is underway into a tank explosion that killed 2 people near Bend. A World War II-era tank was at a public shooting range near Bend when an explosion inside of the tank occurred. 2 people were inside. Paramedics from the Bend Fire Department tried to save them, but they died from their injuries. The Deschutes County Sheriff's Office Detective Division and the Oregon State Police Arson and Explosives Section are working to learn what caused the explosion. A woman says she was held captive and sexually assaulted in a West Salem home for 6 weeks until Salem police conducted a welfare check on the home Sunday. The woman told police that 46-year-old Ronnie Lee Jr. and 44-year-old Irish Boyce, a woman, wouldn't let her leave the house and would beat her if she tried. She says Lee injected her with heroin when she tried to leave and would rape her. Boyce says Lee forced her to engage in sex acts with the victim as well. Boyce and Lee are scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. If donating blood seems to take too long and you're not in the area and dealing with the Lane Blood Center, Brad Ford says the Red Cross has now found a way to reduce some of that time.
When you give blood, you have to fill out a questionnaire.
It's a question of eligibility and whether or not that donor is able to give that day.
Jared Schultzman with the Red Cross says their website now allows donors to go online the day they plan to donate and fill out the questionnaire in advance.
They can do that from the convenience of a personal computer, either at home or at work.
It'll shave about 15 minutes off the time it takes you to donate blood. Donors are still encouraged to make appointments to give blood. You can do that on the Blood Donor app, by phone, or on the Red Cross website. Brad Ford, News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Well, the banned regional manager of the Oregon Liquor Control Commission is on paid administrative leave pending a confidential investigation. The commission is not saying why they're investigating. Katie Safkes, as regional manager, she oversees staff in the commission's Bend and Pendleton offices, which perform liquor licensing, enforcement, and regulation in much of central and eastern Oregon.
What OLCC does when they place an employee on administrative leave is we do a thorough investigation, and the length of time that it takes to conduct the investigation is really relative depending on how many moving parts there are.
Christy Scott with the OLCC says they aren't making any predictions on the length of the investigation. Oregon's average gas price is the 8th largest monthly drop in the nation. Go Oregon.
Corvallis down a penny for the week to $2.25. Albany up a penny to $2.31. Eugene Springfield down 4 cents to $2.28.
Murray Dodds with AAA says Oregon's price for gas is 14th highest in the nation. 722, you're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
And that was Game 1. Kansas City Royals and the New York Mets. Game 1 of the World Series, pretty matched up. Our Bleacher Report analyst said he thought it was going to go 7. I think there's a nation of believers after last night's game that think so too. If there's a non-baseball fan in your household, get him in front of this World Series. Last night, it started this way.
It is Escobar, and he swings and hits it into left center. Back at the track, it is dropped. Cespedes couldn't make the catch.
Alcides Escobar on the very first pitch hits a home run to put the Kansas City Royals on top before fans settled into their seats. What made it spectacular, it was an inside-the-park home run. Yoenis Cespedes and Michael Conforto will be seeing that ball in their sleep for years. After a Fox power outage that caused a bit of delay, the two teams went at it, tied up. After regulation, 9 innings, went into extras, 5. When in the 14th, this took place.
Into right, Granderson back. Escobar tags.
Eric Hosberg sacrifice scores. Who else? Escobar to win it in the 14th, 5-4. Royals over the Mets, 5 hours, 9 minutes. The longest Game 1 in history. Two teams won't have too long to rest. Batting practice starting in hours. Game 2 tonight. NBA got it cranked up. Day 1, the Chicago Bulls beat the Cleveland Cavaliers by a bucket, 97-95. LeBron's layup would have tied things, but got stuffed by Pau Gasol. Take that, King James. Seth Curry drops in 40 for the Pelicans, or against the Pelicans. It's Golden State by 16 over New Orleans. Pistons were in gear over the Hawks, 106-94, the third game. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, powered by Wetlands on Garfield, your West Side neighborhood sports headquarters and pub. At 7:24.
Your KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania, where the side effect of saving like crazy may cause excessive high-fiving and a permanent smile.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, you need to take your umbrella. We've been tracking showers off and on throughout the night as the cold front's moving through the area. Now, temps out there right now in the upper 40s to low 50s. We've got winds out of the west at 5 to 10 with a few gusts up to 15. And we are looking to pick up about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. Now, throughout your day, we expect light rain off and on. And we are expecting another burst of energy this evening to bring another 1/4 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch. Today's highs will be in the mid to low 60s out there under mostly cloudy skies. We may get a couple hours around lunch of partly cloudy, but both systems look to be on target. Now, we are tracking another system for the weekend, maybe bringing showers in just in time for the trick-or-treaters. We'll keep a close eye on it for you, but it's starting to look like a wet Halloween. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960.
The first Henry Ford once told his management team to remember, a business that makes nothing but money is a poor kind of business. Think for a minute about your favorite businesses. Are they only interested in making money, or do they make other things like good customer service, quality products, or customer satisfaction? The same applies to people who focus their whole lives on making money. Focusing instead on your positive qualities, your willpower, your determination to succeed, and your happiness might bring you the money eventually. But focusing on the money won't guarantee any of the other qualities.
This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by Builders Electric, voted the Register Guard's 2015 Reader's Choice #1 electrical contractor, providing positive service for over 55 years. That's Builders Electric, CCB 4296.
Most car commercials say, hurry, the savings end soon. But the savings at your Northwest Toyota dealer are just the beginning. You'll get lower payments, all the latest features, plus 2 years of Toyota Care no-cost service. Savings don't end soon. At your Northwest Toyota dealer.
Visit your Northwest Toyota dealer today for great deals on a huge selection of Toyota models.
Toyota. Let's go places. Covers normal factory scheduled service for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. See Toyota dealer for details and exclusions. Valid only in the continental United States and Alaska.
Take your classic hot rod, muscle car, or modern ride to a whole new level. Metalworks has all of your high-performance parts on-site at guaranteed low prices. Metalworks' expert know-how will help you down the road. Check out our latest dream rides from around the globe at metalworksclassics.com. We're off West 11th at 1045 Aerosmith Street in Eugene. Trucks, performance, classic restoration, Metalworks. Rebuild your dream.
What does better mean to you? Better is coffee with a view. Better is a berry from the vine. Better is the journey. At Providence, we know there are many paths to better health. No matter how you define it, Providence Medicare Advantage plans can help you achieve your better. With Providence, you get a no-cost gym membership with all of our plans and access to thousands of providers in and out of Providence facilities. Talk to us about which plan is best for you. Call 1-866-948-5147. That's 1-866-948-5147. We're here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Providence Medicare Advantage plans. Better you, better world. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, co-payments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits may change on January 1st of each year. The provider network may change at any time. You will receive notice when necessary.
The Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call. On 1120. KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Thanks for joining us this morning. Wet pavement out there. Had a number of traffic snafus. 42nd Street, the on-ramp onto westbound 126. We have an overturned truck there earlier causing some backup, so be careful out there. And also, I guess, there was something going on out there on Clear Lake Road by the spillway that also was causing a backup, so just know that's the case. All right, let's get into it. Last week, you may have seen the article or heard the story about a group out of Veneta. They were called the Veneta Crime Watch Group that had been working with the sheriff's office and collaborating with the county to come up with some sort of special safety district for the kind of the Veneta, Elmira, Walton general area out there that would increase patrols, add some staff and the like. And they would be doing that through essentially a local area tax levy. And there were reports that, you know, it could cost as much as, I think the low end was $1.20 per thousand, upwards of $1.90, depending on who you listen to. But there was really at the time nothing set in stone as to how much this group was going to be asking the voters in that particular area for. So we thought it would be a good idea to invite one of the folks in that is behind it. And we got 2 for 1 today. Joining us on the Wake Up Call, it's Steve Reister. He is with the Fern Ridge Crime Watch Group. They've kind of changed the name. Also joining us from the Sheriff's Office, it's Sergeant Billy Halverson on the Wake Up Call. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, so let's start with you, Steve, because it was your group that has been kind of working on this and apparently saw the need. What was it that inspired you and the folks that you're working with there in that particular area to kind of put your heads together and say, look, let's go to the folks that live in the area. Let's try to put together some sort of safety district to increase patrols.
So what our group realized very early on, and I'll take you back a year, sure, was that we did not have 24/7 sheriff's coverage. We only had one deputy on duty at any given time, 20 hours a day. We had a a large personal property theft crimes happening, largely from drug use. We have a lot of meth and heroin coming into the county, and frankly, we're a bit of a gateway because we're at 126. It was the crime activity in our area of Fern Ridge that brought our group together, and our group started essentially as a social networking site, and then we kind of morphed into spearheading Neighborhood Watch, spearheading a Fern Ridge Patrol group. That's where citizens are actually going out and patrolling, working with the Sheriff's Office for eyes and ears. And then we started doing a bunch of networking, working with the city, working with the county, trying to figure out how and where we could come up with solutions to the problems. Very early on, it was recognized that we have great deputies doing all they could to curb the crime, but we had a revolving door in downtown Eugene at the jail. A deputy would do his job, get somebody into the jail, and the next day that person would be right back on the streets. We also recognized that the DA has a problem. Resources are thin all across the county. The DA was reporting to us that they were only prosecuting about half of the cases they receive. And, the criminal element has figured out pretty quickly that they can do a whole lot of stuff, and it's a 50-50 gamble that they even get prosecuted for it. These are huge problems. We started talking to the Sheriff's Office about what would it cost, what would it take to get 24/7 coverage, to have that very important deputy backup position, and quite frankly, the costs were high. We also recognized as a group that we were kind of creating, with Veneta having a city contract with the Sheriff's Office, we were really creating a buffer area outside of the city of Veneta for the criminal element. So we started thinking about the idea of creating a special district. Now, which is very different than levies. A special district is created by the citizens living inside that district, and in this case, it would be specifically to address policing issues. If we created a special district, one of the things that we felt was important was to develop a holistic approach, and that is, what do we have to do to stop the revolving door at Lane County Jail? What do we have to do to make sure that if you commit a crime against your neighbor in our neck of the woods, you're going to get prosecuted for it? You're going to be held accountable. So we started modeling not just 24/7 coverage, making sure we had 2 deputies on duty, patrolling the entire district, in other words, rural patrol, but we also asked about dedicated jail beds. We asked about dedicated deputy district attorney time. We wanted to address as a group mental health crisis issues. So we started thinking about and talking about developing and bringing in cahoots as a part of our platform. We wanted to address one of the larger concerns neighbors have, and that is doing something to help disenfranchised youth. So we started putting together as a part of our platform the development of a youth corps program. We're calling that the Fern Ridge Youth Corps. So we've built a lot of things into the model that solve problems. We believe, based on the boundary that we have drafted in working with the county, that we now have a reasonable and affordable approach to handling law enforcement in our neck of the woods.
Okay, so including all these things, we're talking about dedicated jail beds, extra prosecutor, extra patrols, the youth services, youth corps. You say it's affordable. How do you define affordable? Let's put some dollars on it, because there was a controversy over what was stated in the paper, that those numbers weren't correct.
Sure. So our goal was to make sure that we could get somewhere in the range of $1.60 to $1.80 per thousand rate and that's based on taxable assessed value. That was our goal. And so I'll just break it down. If you are in a $150,000 home, that's about the cost of a $22 pizza per month. Somebody else said the other day it's like buying 2 lattes a week. We had been still crunching our numbers, continuing to push down, not just in expansion of the boundary, but push down in terms of the cost of the entire platform. We had been working on our numbers and had not come to any final numbers before this $1.90 came out.
Okay, so the final numbers now are between $1.60 and $1.80. Is that where we're at?
Well, we don't know if we can get to $1.60. We think we can get to $1.80. We're still working on what we have not done. Is we've been looking. We haven't looked at the cost side to see if there's any, and we're learning through our town hall meetings what people, the feedback that the larger community is giving us. We may end up taking our larger platform and, based on the feedback, we may carve some things out. We may look at reducing on the cost side of things. So we're still probably a couple of weeks away from having final numbers. But yeah, our goal is to get it down as far as we can. We thought initially $1.60 would be achievable. We're pretty confident at this point that $1.80 is achievable. We know $1.90 is high based on where we're at.
All right. So what do you say to those people that when you're sitting here, you're talking about the revolving door at the jail, and the Board of Commissioners, the sheriff, everybody, the DA and everyone else went out and pushed the jail levy to open up more beds. You're saying now that there is a revolving door, yet we've been hearing from the county that, oh man, we opened these beds up, we're keeping all the Measure 11 offenders off the streets and everything else. Now you're going out there, you're asking the folks that live in that particular area, well, we want you to pay even more for the jail. What do you say to the first off, to those people that say, I'm already paying more for the jail, now you want more money?
Yeah, sure. You just said it yourself. We're doing a great job with major offenders, and the sheriff is able to keep high-level offenders in the jail. There's no question about it. They've made huge progress. Think back a couple of years ago, they were turning loose folks who had been
well aware. But the question is, okay, so but you're still asking people to pay more for the jail. They just got done doing that. Why should they pay even more?
What we want to address is medium and low-level offenders.
Okay, so then if you're renting beds from the jail, they're not going to be able to open up with the money that you're talking about another section. So you're going to be putting these medium and low-level offenders in there, meaning that you're going to be taking up the beds that the high-level offenders would be already taking up.
No.
Okay, Billy's over here nodding no. So, Billy, let's get you into the conversation.
Right.
This is, by the way, Billy Halverson. He's a sergeant with the Lane County Sheriff's Office. See, now you know why they brought you in.
Right.
Okay, so go ahead. That's the idea, was to open these beds up to keep these high-level offenders in. Now they're saying they want to rent a bunch of beds so they can put the low-level offenders in.
Right.
And my thought is, well, then now you're going to be turning the high-level offenders out again.
Right. And there's already this model in place. The cities of Eugene and Springfield rent beds from the jail as well already. Those don't go against holding the high-level offenders. So what this does is it basically puts a tag on those beds where if someone comes in from the Fern Ridge District and they go through their process, pretrial services will look at them. If it bumps up against the capacity for the jail, then the idea behind all this is that the jail would call the district sergeant who's supervising the district and ask them if this is an offender they want to hold in the jail. So they have 3 cards to do that with. Instead of a get out of jail, it's a stay in jail card. Those beds are made available for that as a priority to the district through this contract.
All right, but if it bumps up against the capacity, there's still a chance that these people that you're paying extra to hold could still be released.
If there's 3 jail beds, then they're dedicated 3 jail beds for this district. So at the very least, the district could hold
3 offenders no matter what.
Okay. So what if the jail does get up to capacity with, say, your higher level offenders? Does that mean that the lower of the higher are still going to be released because these 3 extra beds are being held specifically for this special district?
The 3 beds would be under a contract, so they'd be obligated to that.
So then the answer to that question is, if you do have some of those high level offenders and you bump up against capacity, there's still a chance you could be releasing some of those higher level offenders,
yes.
Correct? Okay. We talked about one of the things that you mentioned here was the coverage for the sheriff's office. And Billy, I'm going to let you kind of answer this one. You know, what kind of coverage are we talking about here? I mean, I know that you have 20-hour coverage, a deputy. What kind of expanded coverage would this mean for this particular district?
Well, for this district, the first thing that would change would be 24-hour coverage.
Right.
With that, there's enough staffing built in where you would have at least 2 deputies on during the district at all times.
Mm-hmm.
What that does is that provides for an immediate emergency response within that district. Currently what happens, the city of Veneta has 1 deputy on. If there's a major call, they have to wait for a deputy or a trooper from somewhere else in the county, which could be coming from Florence, Oak Ridge, Cottage Grove, to get there before they can handle the call.
Yeah.
So with the staffing like this, the idea and part of the boundary is we're looking at kind of using Veneta as the hub. We want an emergency response with 2 deputies in less than 10 minutes to anywhere in that district.
Okay. What are we talking about total cost of this per year? I know that you're looking at between $160, $180 per thousand. I mean, let's give the big dollar cost here. I mean, are we talking $1 million a year, $2 million, $3 million? I mean, how many million or 100,000 are we talking about?
Yeah, right now our estimate cost is 2.7 on an annual basis.
So $2.7 million.
$2.7 million on an annual basis.
Is it cheaper to do it this way, or would it be cheaper to maybe just kind of create your own police office? You know, have your own just area police department?
Yeah, we looked at creation. What would it cost to create a police department? You know, specifically
for
like
that
the city
area
of Veneta, and it's extremely expensive. It's much cheaper to go the district route.
All right, and the DA.
Mm-hmm.
And talk a little bit about that. I mean, are they just going to be required to only prosecute cases from this particular special district?
Yeah. So when we met with the new district attorney, Patty Perlow, one of the things that we wanted to address was, you know, the number of cases that they receive versus the number of cases they're actually able to prosecute. What we said was, look, what if hypothetically this district purchases the time for a full-time deputy district attorney dedicated specifically to this district? The question is if we did that, would the cases that come out of this district get prosecuted? Mm-hmm. And the answer was yes. If we have a dedicated district attorney working for this district, if you commit a crime in this district, you're going to get prosecuted. So we filled the gap, just like we filled the gap with the jails.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Steve Reister joining us on the wake-up call. Sergeant Billy Halverson from the Lane County Sheriff's Office. Okay, I'm going to go back to kind of an original question. I'm just going to kind of expand it a little bit here. There are people, well, anybody that lives in Lane County essentially are already paying property taxes for the jail, as we mentioned earlier. I mean, expanded extra money for the jail and jail beds. They're already paying property taxes for, you know, some form of Lane County Sheriff protection. They're already paying for these things. And are you getting any pushback from residents saying, I'm already paying for this stuff? And now you're coming to me and telling me I need to pay more to get the services that really I should be getting to begin with.
We're getting huge positive responses all across the district as we have the boundary today.
You're telling me you're getting no pushback whatsoever?
No, I'm not saying that. We are receiving some folks who are, and it's a small percentage. I would say 90% so far that we've talked to has been totally for this, and maybe 10% or less has been pushing back a bit. The pushback has been not that they don't think that there's a need. I think everybody agrees that there's a need to find a solution to the problems. It's been about, can I afford it? It's been about, I'm on a fixed income. Our answer to that is, we're working as hard as we can to make this affordable for everybody. We understand that there are folks who feel like they just can't afford anything more, anything on top. But at the same time, we're trying to stay focused on, we've got to solve this problem at some point. This has to be solved. We can't continue to go until the county just cuts us out of policing entirely.
One of the problems that we dealt with and was discussed here, I don't know, a couple of months ago, had to do with the jail levy, and that, you know, people had paid for this jail levy, and the understanding is that, all right, they're not going to be taking money away and putting it someplace else if we pay for this, you know, this extra money for this jail levy. And it turns out, well, actually, yeah, some money was reallocated. What's to lead you to believe that we won't have a situation like that occur again?
Yeah, that's the beauty of a special district. A special district, if created, will carry its own set of books. The state can't touch it, the county can't touch it, the commissioners can't touch it. This would be an audited set of books controlled by citizens living within the districts. In other words, it's the citizens who are paying for the services. It's the citizens who are deciding what services they want to pay for, and it'll be the citizens making sure that the monies are going exactly where they're supposed to. The district gives us some parameters we don't have today in the areas.
Steve Reister on the wake-up call this morning. Sergeant Billy Halverson. Sergeant, I want to bring you back into this again. You know, obviously, I know that the Sheriff's Department would be in favor of this type of thing. I mean, it's going to mean some more boots on the streets, hopefully some more people held accountable for what they're doing. Logistically, what kind of problems is this going to set up for the Sheriff's Office? I mean, it sounds to me like you're obviously going to have to find some sort of space to be able to camp out in that particular area, so some sort of Sheriff's Office outpost. You know, what are a few of the logistical problems you may have to deal with?
Right, and that's one that we've been talking about. Right now, the Veneta contract deputies are working out of a substation in City Hall. So that's in the process of, infrastructure is already there. It obviously would need to be expanded if you're going from 4 deputies to 13 total. So the other issue is the hiring process. So that's going to take some time. That's built into the model that the group has put together with the expectation that it's going to take a year to get fully billed. The idea is that you would absorb the existing deputies already in the Veneta contract into this district, because there would be no more Veneta contract per se. So you're starting off with 5 deputies right off the bat. So you have to fill the remaining through the hiring process. The hope is, you know, on the long side, it takes 11 months to get a brand new deputy through training, through the academy, through their field training, get them spooled up so they can be alone by themselves handling calls. There's the obvious possibility that we could recruit qualified people to include other agencies from out of the area where somebody would want to come work for the Sheriff's Office if there was actual dedicated, stable funding.
All right. For folks that want more information, Steve, where can they go?
www.fernridgecpd.com.
Okay, fernridgecpd.com. Steve Reister, Sergeant Billy Halverson, thanks for joining us on the wake-up call this morning. We appreciate it. It's News Radio 1120 KPNW.
It's the latest wake-up call market news. This is the KPNW Business Report.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are higher this morning. Investors are waiting to hear from the Federal Reserve later this afternoon at the conclusion of their 2-day meeting. Traders are pricing in little chance of the Fed raising rates today. Apple said it will have another record holiday fueled by enduring demand for the iPhone. CEO Tim Cook attributed the forecast to customers upgrading to the latest iPhone models, converts switching over from Android, and continued growth in China. Hyatt is in advanced talks to buy Starwood Hotels. That's according to a report by CNBC. A spokesperson for Starwood declined to comment. Hunting and fishing retail chain Cabela's is soaring in trading after activist investor Elliott Associates disclosed an 11% stake in the company and said it may push for a shakeup or a sale. Elliott sees Cabela's as a possible takeover target, with private equity firms or other retailers serving as buyers. The company delivered disappointing earnings last week. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Local news, local people, Holloway in London, and the wake-up call. I want you to get up now. On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
News Radio 1120, KPNW. We shift from Fern Ridge and Elmira to Syria. President Obama is weighing moving U.S. troops closer to the front lines in Syria. His senior national security advisors have recommended measures that would move our troops closer to the front lines in Iraq and Syria, which is a sign that the White House is not necessarily satisfied with our progress or the progress against the Islamic State. To talk about that this morning, it is Joshua Katz. He's a managing partner with the Enright Group. He was a U.S. Special Ops Commander as an Army Ranger. He's a former CIA operations officer. He's served in the White House. You name it, the guy has done it. Joshua, thanks for being with us this morning.
And thanks for having me.
So, Where does this then move us? So we're moving troops closer, what? So that they can respond faster? Does this represent maybe some sort of buildup that would imply that the White House is going to get, I guess, more serious about ISIS? What do we read into the actions?
So I think, unfortunately, we should read in that the White House still does not have a policy. They haven't developed a policy for how the U.S., what the U.S. is doing there in the first place. So this tactic, the tactic of moving advisors closer without actually a mission, without a goal for them, is going to put them in harm's way and isn't going to further national security for the United States, unfortunately.
So then, let's flip this and just ask the question. All right, the president has said he's going to do this. I mean, one of the discussions we've had on the show, a number of them, was that what is our policy there? What are the countries in the region going to take away from this? And in particular, say, Saudi Arabia on one hand, and on the other, a country like Iran.
Yeah, so I think on one hand, it's emboldening Iran. Iran has deployed lots of its special operations soldiers there. Iran is working with Assad. Iran is working with the Russians. And what this is further evidence to the Saudis and other countries in the region is that the United States is basically capitulating regional dominance to Iran, is backing away from our traditional allies, and is really providing Russia with an opportunity to lead. Whether Russia does or does not, we won't know. But case in point is that after the United States and Russia last week signed an agreement about air strikes within Syria, the United States only conducted one airstrike into Syria since the 22nd, I believe, of October. So anybody we're going to move to the front lines, is this administration actually saying that air support is going to come from the Russians? I think we'd all have some issues with that.
How does this really figure into, let's say, the next president's foreign policy? In other words, I guess the question is, how far into a corner does this paint us in leaving the next administration with not a whole lot of maneuvering room?
No, tremendously. I think we've been seeing this coming, though, for the past 2.5 years in Syria, is that this administration, through inaction or through action based on a political outcome, it has really put the next administration, no matter whether it's a Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter, the next administration is going to be negotiating with foreign powers from a tremendous position of weakness. There is not a lot to do in this situation other than to now engage, because this administration put us there. We're going to have to engage more closely with Iran. We're going to have to engage more closely with Russia. But having said that, the next administration really needs to look at ISIS, needs to look at Islamic extremism and say, you know what, we don't want that at home, and take that fight and bring what's to bear in the entire U.S. arsenal to defeat them, not to take half measures and put our people in harm's way for no reason.
All right. Joshua, thanks for joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Joshua Katz on the Wake Up Call. He's a national security intelligence expert. It is 756 News Radio, 1120 KPNW.
Built for business. When you run a small business, your day doesn't end at 5. It ends when the job is done. Manage inventory, process orders, pay bills, check your website. Every day, the to-do list gets longer and longer. Comcast Business understands that. That's why they offer the no-glitch switch. It's the quick, easy way to improve your business's internet. Installation takes about an hour, and if they're not on time, you get a $20 credit. They offer appointments at night or on weekends, so it won't interfere with your business. And if you're not 100% satisfied, you have 30 days to get your money back. You don't have to put up with slow downloads or emails that won't send. Just remember the no-glitch switch from Comcast Business and cross Switch to Better Internet off your to-do list. Make the no-glitch switch. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. 1 hour install applies to standard installation of one outlet. Money-back guarantee does not apply to Ethernet or hospitality services.
Hi, I'm Eric Harple with Realty One Group. You've heard our ads with Glenn Beck and Lars Larson for years, and like they said, I have been the top real estate agent in Lane County for more than 5 years. But honestly, who cares? What I care about is helping you get your home sold for the most money possible within your time frame. My team and I help more home sellers sell than any other agent, and most at full price or more. How? Massive marketing. When you're number one, you can do things the others can't. I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor. And if you're not happy, fire me. Mind you, I think you'll be happy because our bulletproof listing offers flexible commissions, the right to sell it yourself, cancel anytime. You're in control. We sell homes for top dollar regardless of the time of year, and we put the money in your pocket. For a free information package, call 541-286-3030. Call Harple Real Estate countywide, 541-286-3030 or harplehomes.com. Thank you.
I spend my days helping others. It's rewarding, just not always financially. So I got TIAA-CREF. They were founded to help people like me meet our financial goals. They've got so many industry accolades, it's unreal. I like taking care of people. Sometimes that even includes myself.
Intelligent investing for the long term. Just what you'd expect from a company that's created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA-CREF, Individual and Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an act of betrayal. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
People are going crazy for FanDuel's one-week fantasy football leagues. Listen up.
FanDuel, easily by far, is the best fantasy website on the planet.
With FanDuel, you have a new chance to win every week. FanDuel's paying out $75 million a week this football season. Plus, right now, FanDuel is giving you a bonus of up to $200 that gets earned as you play. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. Go to FanDuel.com, click the microphone, and enter the promo code 6161. That's FanDuel.com, promo code 6161. News
Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. He's guilty. A former House Speaker whose plea in a hush money case will keep whatever Dennis Hastert wanted quiet quiet. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Dave, the silence comes at a price. That plea deal recommends he serve no more than 6 months in prison, but keeps him from going to trial. Now, the judge could still go beyond that recommendation and give Hastert up to 5 years behind bars. As today's hearing gave up no new details on why he agreed to pay $3.5 million to an unidentified person, allegedly to hide past misconduct. Hastert tried to hide those payments and lied to federal investigators. Sentencing is set for February 29th, Dave.
Tanya praised for the outgoing Speaker of the House moments ago.
John Boehner served his country and this House of Representatives with fidelity and responsibility.
That's Democrat Steny Hoyer ahead of a vote Boehner and other Republicans set up on a 2-year budget plan. Many GOP conservatives don't support it, but Paul Ryan does. The likely next House Speaker expected to be voted in tomorrow. Will Donald Trump get into it with Ben Carson or John Kasich, maybe Jeb Bush? Republicans running for president debate again tonight. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live in Boulder, Colorado.
The economy is expected to be the main focus of this debate hosted by CNBC. In area, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush says he feels confident despite middle-of-the-pack polling and cutting campaign payroll.
Hillary Clinton was up 25 points against Barack Obama. This is not even the second quarter. This is just the beginning of the game.
It's outsider Ben Carson, the soft-spoken retired neurosurgeon who comes into this debate with front-runner status, topping Donald Trump in a few Iowa polls and a CBS New York Times national poll for bottom-of-the-field candidates. Will debate in an earlier session, Dave.
Jared, nearly 400 Boko Haram hostages, mostly women and children, have been freed from the terror group's captivity after Nigerian troops raided Boko Haram camps. It's not known if any of the schoolgirls kidnapped in 2014 were among them. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
To me, fearless is embracing what's next, along with your laugh lines. It's signing up for yoga lessons, even if you haven't worn stretch pants since the 80s. Fearless is feeling you have a whole road to travel ahead of you, no matter how far you've come.
Fearless is knowing Regent's Blue Cross Blue Shield is there, protecting you with the power of a card that opens doors to the best hospitals and medical centers in all 50 states. Regent's Blue Cross Blue Shield. Live fearless.
Sherman Brothers Trucking is looking for drivers, company drivers and owner-operators, flatbed, tanker, lowboy, curtain van, and dump truck. Great benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and paid vacation. Sherman Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1969 and runs regionally with good home times. Sherman Brothers prides themselves on the quality of their drivers and the service the company provides. Excellent training and quality management will help you reach your goals. Check out ShermanTrucking.com for more details or call 800-457-1459.
San Francisco's last gun store is about to shoot blanks. Open since 1952, it'll close Saturday after city supervisors, including Mark Farrell, approved an ordinance requiring video surveillance of all gun and ammunition sales in San Francisco. The footage could later be used in any criminal cases, and Farrell says stalled gun control legislation nationally
becomes left to local jurisdictions like the city of San Francisco to promote legislation around gun safety issues to protect the residents on our streets.
Now, that store says it will not subject its customers to such surveillance, and Farrell says he's not sad that the store is going to close. It's now at least 188 people in 6 California counties that have become sick by a bacterial infection after eating at a San Francisco area restaurant earlier this month. Many of the people sickened by this infection caused by the Shigella bacteria have required admission to a hospital. At least 3 people have sued the restaurant. It is right now closed. Are the Royals now on a roll, or will the Mets get even? Game 2 of the World Series is tonight after an instant classic of an opener. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manassa will be there now, live in Kansas City.
Dave, after a drama-filled 14 innings last night, the Royals are up 1 against the New York Mets. And now the focus is on Game 2 here in Kansas City. Johnny Cueto, who struggled in the postseason, takes the mound for the Royals against New York's Jacob deGrom. It's still early, and fans on both sides are hopeful.
Royals winning Game 6. Royals in 4.
Royals in 4.
I really think the Mets have it this year. I think Game 5.
The clutch hitting the Mets have, I think that's going to be the key.
And Fox Sports also likely making sure that its generators are in working order to prevent another temporary outage that viewers at home saw last night. Dave?
Jeff, on Wall Street, the Dow's now up 107 points. Later on today, we'll hear from the Federal Reserve after assessing the economy, not expected to raise interest rates. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
8:05, News Radio 1120 KPNW. Come with us, hour number 3. You're dressing the wardrobe. How great is it to be dressing in the 8 o'clock hour for you? Awesome. Today, a little wet at the showers, pretty much clearing by midday. Chance of rain. Not that it's going to be totally dry and sunny, but the brunt of the precipitation in the earlier part of the day, 90% of it. Showers continuing into the night, though. Cloudy, dip down to 50. 30% chance of showers for your Thursday, 20%, check that, 40% for Friday. I mean, Saturday, looking a little wet for the trick-or-treating. Not exactly freezing cold, but it should be a little bit on the wet side. But we've had a litany of traffic snafus out there. Hopefully, you've been able to negotiate and have found the path of least resistance. If you come across anything that the other 14 should know about, our 15 listeners out there, the network of road rangers, depending upon people like you to pass the word, you can get it in a couple of ways. 541-485-KPNW or 1120KPNW at gmail.com. That being said, we've got Rick Dancer coming up.
Yep, we're going to be talking about the Independent Party of Lane County. If you recall here, it was a couple of months ago, the Independent Party of Oregon became, quote-unquote, a major political party. Well, what does that translate into locally? We'll have that discussion with Rick Dancer, who's kind of on the front end of that particular procedure. And coming up as well, we're going to have some news for you. We'll take a look at a discussion over some raises for county workers, in particular those not represented by the unions. That story will be coming up. We'll also follow up on a story dealing with a murder-suicide in the Eugene area. Also, a member of the city council has come out and said, I'm going to run again. Whom do you think it might be? Those stories and more coming up, brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones on KPNW. Burrito Amigos and game day. You can't beat them. Having a game night in while the team is on the road? Well, invite all your amigos over and let Burrito Amigos supply the eats. Call in an order, pick it up, and it's party on. On the hot side, I suggest Fire Bites. They're deep-fried jalapeno slices, or treat your guests to cheese-filled jalapenos, pepitas. Or go deep with tacos, taquitos, and nachos. And Burrito Amigos taco salads are so big, everyone can dig in. Now, on the side, you can supply the chips, while Burrito Amigos supplies the fresh beans, rice, and salsa to dip those chips in. If you want to plan ahead, stop by the night before and get some fresh, cold tamales by the dozen and nuke them at home the day of the game. Here's your Burrito Amigos helpful hint. When you go the tamale route, take home some mole or the thick, cheesy, spicy poblano soup to use as sauce over the tamales. Better yet, use both. And, of course, all of this is great for tailgate parties. You might even go the burrito route. Burrito Amigos all over Eugene and Springfield. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I can tell you there are some weekends where you may even like Burrito Amigos better than the game.
Brad's Cottage Grove Chevy GMC. Friendly people who treat you right.
This is an exciting announcement from Eugene Airport. Today is the day your life gets easier. Getting from point A to point B has never been more efficient. You can now fly nonstop from Eugene Airport to San Jose. That's right. There's now a new nonstop way to San Jose on Alaska Airlines. We're connecting the Silicon Valley to the Silicon Shire. Book your next flight today at alaskaair.com. Fly easy. Fly EUG.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
News, information, 24/7 on News Radio 1120 KPNW. Now, this morning's wake-up call with the latest news from the Northwest and your neighborhood on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. Let's look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. An early morning burglary call on Compton Street in Eugene Tuesday turned quickly into something much more grim.
Upon their arrival, they found the deceased inside the residence under suspicious circumstances. Search was then conducted by a canine officer.
Eugene Police Captain Sherry Meisel says it didn't take long for the canine to pick up a scent.
And that was tracked to a location not far away near a pond where a second person was found of an apparent suicide.
43-year-old Athena Slavin, the mother of a minor son, was the victim found dead in the house. The suspected killer and the man who is suspected to have committed suicide was 44-year-old Jeffrey Brian March.
They had been in a relationship prior to this incident. However, at this time, they were no longer involved with each other.
Meisel said that they believe the woman was alone in the house at the time and her child was staying elsewhere. The medical examiner will determine and release the exact cause of deaths at a later time. Eugene's transient travelers problem has been an issue in Eugene for years. Now, Mayor Kitty Piercy, a strong proponent of a program that critics say attracts transients to the city, wants the governor to declare a state of emergency on homelessness. Piercy wants the city council to vote today on a resolution similar to the Portland City Council request of Governor Kate Brown. Piercy's draft resolution claims the city needs resources from the state and the federal government to address the problem. The council is going to be meeting at noon today to debate the issue. The Lane County Board of Commissioners heard a proposal to offer pay raises for the county's non-union employees. The pay increase is expected to cost the county about $867,000 over the next budget year if adopted. Social media lit up when the raises were first floated last week. However, only one person showed up to speak against the proposal. The proposal was made, according to county HR official Marcia Edwards, after 2 years of no raises for many of the county's highest paid employees and managers. The raises, as proposed, range anywhere from 4 cents an hour to up to 14%. Board Chair Jay Bozovich is in favor of the proposal and even suggested that paying more for the employees saves money in the long run.
We don't do the kind of budgeting innovation we do without the help of the non-rep folks in our budget office. We don't get to some of these cost savings without the right people in these positions. And I think it's very short-sighted of us to think that we can't be competitive in the marketplace.
The raises are based on a comparative study done on other Oregon counties' pay structures. In the end, the board delayed a vote on the raises based on the need for more information and for a chance to try and convince the public why the raises are necessary. The City of Eugene Civilian Review Board met last night to discuss the shooting death of Brian Babb. Babb was a military vet under 100% disability for PTSD when he was fatally shot during a standoff with police. He was having a mental breakdown when a psychologist called police. The problem and the police response escalated until Babb stepped out onto his porch with a rifle and was shot in the head by an officer from an armored vehicle. Since the shooting, Eugene police have adopted a series of drastic changes to policy dealing with their response to barricaded subjects, distraught vets, and those with mental issues. The shooting had been deemed justified by the Lane County DA, the police chief, Pete Kearns, and the Lane County Interagency Deadly Force Investigation Team. Well, last night, the review board essentially agreed with those findings. However, they criticized the Deadly Force Investigation Team for conducting a sloppy investigation. 90-year-old South Eugene City Councilor Betty Taylor has decided not to run, or actually has decided to run yet again. Taylor filed her re-election papers on Monday. No one has stepped up to challenge Taylor, who's been on the city council since 1997. But if anyone decides to run against Taylor, they'll likely attack her for not fulfilling one of her promises from the last election process.
And we need movable chairs downtown so people can meet for conversations.
As of yet, there are no movable chairs for conversations, nor have any proposals been made during council or budget meetings. Why not, Betty? Why not? Cottage Grove appears to be moving towards banning tobacco products, including vaping, from public parks and playgrounds. The city council there has been considering a ban for a while. Councilor Mike Fleck believes it does make sense to protect kids from secondhand smoke.
But I also really value freedom, and I want to make sure that we're not overly zealous.
Fleck wants councilors to consider creating smoking and chewing areas in the more well-used Cottage Grove parks. The legalization of pot in Oregon now has health officials warning you about Halloween dangers associated with weed. Brad Ford reports.
You can't buy recreational edible marijuana products in Oregon until next year, but they can be made at home, and that can be dangerous for kids. Edibles are legal in Washington State, and Clark County Health Officer Alan Melnick says children's smaller bodies cause the edible products to have a greater effect.
They can get marijuana intoxication pretty easily.
Edibles often come in the form of cookies, brownies, or candies.
Because they're sweet and they're like candy or cake, children can get pretty high dosage.
Melnick says anyone with edible marijuana products needs to treat them responsibly and especially keep them out of the reach of children and pets. Brad Ford, KPNW.
A bill to outlaw ivory sales stalled in the Oregon legislature earlier this year, so animal welfare advocates are taking their cause to voters. The measure would go even further, aiming to end the sale of products derived from a variety of endangered or heavily poached animals, including elephants, rhinos, lions, sea turtles, and sharks. It comes as other states and the federal government look to end much of the legal market for ivory. By making most ivory illegal to sell, the proponents hope to tamp down demand for exotic animal parts and discourage poaching in Africa and Asia. But critics say criminalizing the sale of parts from animals killed decades ago will do nothing to stop the poachers responsible for brutal killings of elephants and other animals today. It also remains to be seen whether mammoth tusks will be also outlawed. Of course, keep in mind that mammoths have been extinct for, well, several thousand years. The battle for a $25 million bond for a new jail in Benton County is heating up with the usual tit-for-tat. Backers of a measure to finance a new jail recently filed a formal complaint against the leader of the group that opposes money for the jail. Curtis Wright is co-director of Citizens for a Safe Benton County. He filed a formal complaint yesterday with the Oregon Elections Division, claiming that Citizens Against the Jail chairman, David Grappo, violated state election laws by not filing contribution and election reports. Grappo says that he misunderstood the filing process but had recently fixed the problem. Measure 2-91 would authorize up to $25 million in bonds in Benton County to force a 112-bed jail to be built in Philomath that would replace the 140-bed facility next to the county courthouse in downtown Corvallis. Of course, those in Corvallis would be happy to have a new jail built somewhere else because it means the criminals are going to be shipped out of town. An investigation underway into a tank explosion that killed 2 people near Bend. Keep in mind that this tank wasn't a fuel tank. It was a World War II era tank that was at a public shooting range near Bend when there was an explosion inside of it. 2 people were inside that tank. Paramedics from the Bend Fire Department tried to save them, but they died from their injuries. The Deschutes County Sheriff's Office Detective Division and the Oregon State Police Arson and Explosive Section are working to learn what caused that explosion. A woman says she was held captive and sexually assaulted in a West Salem home for 6 weeks until Salem police actually conducted a welfare check on the home over the weekend. Woman told police that 46-year-old Ronnie Lee Jr. and 46-year-old Irish Boyce wouldn't let her leave the house and would beat her if she tried. She says Lee injected her with heroin when she tried to leave and would rape her. Boyce says Lee forced her to engage in sex acts with the victim. Boyce and Lee are scheduled to appear in court on Thursday. All right, so if you don't go to the Lane Blood Center, say you live in one of those outlying areas, and you think that donating blood takes too long with the Red Cross, Brad Ford says they've actually found a way to reduce your time.
When you give blood, you have to fill out a questionnaire.
It's a question of eligibility and whether or not that donor is able to give that day.
Jared Schultzman with the Red Cross says their website now allows donors to go online the day they plan to donate and fill out the questionnaire in advance.
They can do that from the convenience of a personal computer, either at home or at work.
It'll shave about 15 minutes off the time it takes you to donate blood. Donors are still encouraged to make appointments to give blood. You can do that on the Blood Donor app, by phone, or on the Red Cross website. Brad Ford, News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Oregon's average gasoline price is experienced its 8th largest monthly drop in the entire nation.
Corvallis down a penny for the week to $2.25. Albany up a penny to $2.31. Eugene Springfield down 4 cents to $2.28.
And right now, you can't see me doing my happy dance over that, but I can tell you it's quite animated. Marie Dodds with AAA says the Oregon price for gas is now the 14th highest in the nation. As the Oregon Wildlife Commission considers delisting gray wolves, the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation outside of Pendleton have yet to take a stand on that issue. Communications Director Chuck Sams says the tribes are not seeing much depredation of wildlife or livestock, as some would have thought.
We may have a different stance than most people on it, but at the same time, we understand people's concerns with it. We just want to make sure those concerns are well-founded and that there's ways that we have that can help the rancher and farmer to ensure the protection of their own property.
The commission is currently considering 3 proposals: delisting the wolf statewide, only delisting it in eastern Oregon, or just simply not doing anything. It's 8:20. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Okay, and that was just Game 1. Game 1 World Series, Kansas City Royals and the New York Mets, pretty matched up. Our Bleacher Reports analyst said he thought it could go 7. I think there's a lot of people that agree with that. If there's a non-baseball fan, get him in front of this series. It looks like it's going to be a good one. Game 1 it started this way.
It is Escobar, and he swings and hits it into left center. Back at the track, it is dropped. Cespedes couldn't make the catch.
Joe Buck on Fox Sports. Alcides Escobar on the first pitch of the game. It's a home run to put the Kansas City Royals on top before fans even settled into their seats. What made it spectacular, an inside-the-park home run. Yoenis Cespedes and Michael Conforto will be seeing that ball in their sleep for years. After a Fox power outage that caused a bit of delay, the two teams went at it, tied up after 9, and went into extras. 5. When in the 14th, this took place.
Into right, Granderson back. Escobar tags. Here comes Escobar. The Royals win game 1.
After Eric Hosmer's sacrifice, it scores, who else? Alcides Escobar to win it in 14. 5-4 your final. Royals takes Game 1 over the Mets. 5 hours, 9 minutes later, the longest game in Game 1 history. Game 2 tonight. NBA got it cranked up in Day 1. The Chicago Bulls beat the Cleveland Cavaliers by a bucket. LeBron attempts to tie it up, but gets denied at the basket by Paul Gasol. Seth Curry drops 40 on the Pelicans. It's Golden State by 16 over New Orleans. Those same Pelicans take on the Blazers tonight as they crank up NBA regulation. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, powered by Wetlands on Garfield in Eugene, your West Side neighborhood sports headquarters and pub at 8:23.
Weather every 10 minutes during the Wake Up Call. Count on it. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, you need to grab your umbrella. We've been tracking showers all night moving through the area associated with a powerful cold front. Now, we do have winds out of the west at 5 to 10 with gusts up to 15, mostly cloudy skies. And temps out there right now are in the upper 40s to low 50s. We look to pick up about a 1/10 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch. Now, throughout your day, we're going to see light rain off and on. We see another burst of energy late this evening, bringing another 1/10 of an inch. We will reach a high of 61 here in town with everyone else in the low 60s out there. We are tracking another system for the weekend that looks to bring Halloween, maybe on the wet side. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and enjoy the rain.
Take your classic hot rod, muscle car, or modern ride to a whole new level. Metalworks has all of your high-performance parts on-site at guaranteed low prices. Metalworks' expert know-how will help you down the road. Check out our latest dream rides from around the globe at metalworksclassics.com. We're off West 11th at 1045 Aerosmith Street in Eugene. Trucks, performance, classic restoration, Metalworks. Rebuild your dream.
Northwest Burger inside the 5th Street Market features burgers so amazing they're an experience all their own. Freshly ground meat, local produce combined with the creativity of local chef Garrett Kirsch make for a burger experience like no other. You will get mouth-watering goodness in every single bite. Check out their new menu and photos on Facebook. Northwest Burger is located in the 5th Street Market, Eugene.
The official burger of the Wake Up Call.
Northwest Burgers.
I'm David Walker. Join Katie LaSalle and me tonight on KVAL News at 5 and 6 for a complete look at all the day's news from around Western Oregon. Al Peterson will have your up-to-the-minute forecast, and Sky Muller will have the latest scores and highlights, plus Ducks and Beavers football. When news happens in Western Oregon, more people turn to the KVAL News team at 5 and 6 than any other station. It's coverage you can count on from KVAL News. First, fair, accurate.
The best coverage of Pac-12 football is on Inside the Pac. I'm Sky Muller. Join me along with Preston Highfield for all the excitement of Pac-12 football. From game-by-game scores and highlights, guest analysis, interviews with players and coaches, and previews of upcoming games. No other station in Western Oregon covers the Pac-12 better than KVAL. Wrap up your weekend of college football with Inside the Pac, Sundays at 6:30, only on KVAL.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean, without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack? When you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price. And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. Our way of saying thank you for trying us. How are we able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures them. That's how. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 9955 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 9955.
Brad's Cottage Grove Chevy GMC. Low prices, amazing selection.
This is Brian Sutherland, owner of Amco in Springfield. Is your check engine light on? Is your car or truck not performing like it used to? Has your gas mileage dropped lately? We'll perform our exclusive Amco TransScan at no charge to you. That's a $50 value. And right now, our Power Purge transmission flush is only $99. That includes most cars and light trucks. Maintenance has never been more important, so trust your complete car care needs to Amco in Springfield. For hometown service, remember, AA MCO.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. 825. Welcoming back to the Wake Up Call, one Rick Dancer. And it seems like every time that we have Rick in the studio, it's never for the same thing. It's always some different thing that...
I have a focus issue.
Yeah, you do. You are one of the most ADD public people I think we have in the entire community. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
It's nice to be here, Bill. I'm glad to be here to talk.
All right, so Independent Party of Oregon. Let me just kind of let the listeners know how this conversation even came about. Sal Peralta is with the kind of the state version of the Independent Party here in Oregon.
Kind of the director, really.
Yeah. And they just became, if you recall, a couple of months ago, what's considered to be a major party in Oregon, which is, it's just a bunch of math is what it amounts to. That said, I was talking to Sal, and I said, well, we need to get you on. We need to talk about some of the candidates you want to put into the upcoming election, so on and so forth, just kind of get some input. And he said, you really ought to talk to Rick Dancer. And I said, Rick Dancer, why is that? And he said, well, Rick Dancer is kind of formulating our stuff in Lane County, and he's the guy you need to be talking to locally down there, so give him a call. So I gave you a call, and here you are.
So Bill calls me and says, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
I said, just trying to cause problems.
That's exactly what I said.
So I was, after I ran as Secretary of State in 2008 as a Republican, I decided that party wasn't for me. I knew I didn't want to be a Democrat either, and so I just was a disaffiliated voter, because I kind of fit. I thought, I'm just going to be non-affiliated. I'm going to be associated with no one. I'm going to do what matters to me. I didn't at that time like the Independent Party because, to be really honest and blunt about it, is when I ran for Secretary of State, they supported my opponent, Kate Brown, the governor now. And I was kind of like, well, wait a second here. Have you even talked to me? So I was kind of a little irritated, and I went, no, I don't like any parties. Then, when the Independent Party what happens is you have to have 5% to count as a real party.
Right.
So the Independent Party just got that done. And Sal called me, and he said, would you consider doing this? this. I said, okay, I will. I'll be an independent now. I'll come over to the party, and their platform is only like a couple of things: reduce special interest over government process, increase transparency in government. Sure, I believe all that. They don't go into a stand on abortion or anything like that. They let people have their own position, but that's not a government thing. So I thought, you know what, I can do this. And so we started putting together a local party, we don't have a precinct. They don't do any of that stuff like the other parties do. It's just there's like right now 5 of us meeting, trying to figure out how we start this and get people's voice out there. So what you would ask me is, what are you trying to do now? Well, you look at all the seats in Lane County, and did you know we're a highly Democrat county?
Go get out!
I know. I'm always bringing new news to the platform here.
You are such.
So if you look at the seats out there, you look at Val Hoyle. She's going to run for Secretary of State, so that leaves her position without an incumbent, and that's the best place to go to do this. So there's 2 Ds already applied for that, no Rs. Big surprise there. And so what we're trying to do is put out the word, and we're going to go looking for some independents in that 14 or the District 14 to see if we can get somebody to go out there and run, because if we can get a few representatives, a few senators in the state of Oregon as independents, we can really mess up what's going on.
Is there a short list already established?
We had, honestly, we just met like a week ago, and we just sent an email to Saul and said, we need names of people in this area. Because what we don't want is I don't want an R that says, well, I can't make it as an R, so I want to be an I. It's like, no. And I don't want a D that wants to be, I want people who, they can be R's and D's, but that are truly willing to, I know it's the C word, being compromise, to come to a point where you go, what do the people of Oregon really want? When you look at statistics of, there's a guy showed up last week, was really interesting. He's a sociology professor from the U of O, and he's done research, and he says that the far left and far right are really closer than we think. It's the extremes on the other side that are really far apart. And we're buying into it because most media, not you, is trying to get a story. Go, oh, look, pit this person against this person. When really, if you go talk to, when I was running for office, I talked to a lot of Ds, and they had a lot of the same ideas that I did, going, you know what, I know I don't get everything. I mean, good night. Are you married? You don't compromise every day? You have children? You compromise? You work? You compromise? So we got to, that doesn't mean there's things in my life I don't say, this is a strong standard for me, but I have to be willing to work together with people. And so that's what we're hoping, is we can get some people in there in the legislature. I mean, I don't have any big hopes that life is going to change instantly, but I think if you could get some people in there who are really thinking like Oregonians, not like party platform people who just go, what's good for the party? I mean,
like Floyd Brzezinski? I mean, like Floyd?
I had some D's.
Just to pull a name out of the bag.
I had a good friend of mine who's a politician in this community, and we'd always gotten along really well. And when I announced I was running for Secretary of State,
Were you the Antichrist?
No, this person walked up to me and literally looked me in the eye and said, I like you, but I'm a blue-blooded Democrat, and there's no way in hell, can I say that on the air?
Yeah,
that a Republican is going to take that Secretary of State. And this person went around and took Kate Brown, who was my opponent at the time, and took him to all the people that I needed to go to, because he was following around, and was taking him to the same people and trying to get money from them. And I'm going, you're not kidding. So we're friends one day, and then you find out that I'm running against your idea of what Oregonians are. And you come out like that. So that's what really kind of soured me on that whole thing. And
well, what's keeping you from just running yourself?
You know what, Bill?
Somebody has had to have asked the
people
question.
Ask me all the time.
I mean, let's for just a second. Let me interject here. You came within the proverbial cat's whisker of winning Secretary of State. I mean,
okay, it's really weird.
As anybody has come to winning.
I know, but what's really crazy is the day that Kate Brown, okay, so it's for people that out there that don't know, I ran against Kate Brown in 2008, and then of course, yes, she won again, but the chances are, if I would have won, that I'd be governor right now.
That's true.
Wow. I woke up the next morning and I looked looked at my wife and I said, I'm almost governor. And she looked at me and she goes, I'm so glad you're not.
Wow, that's a good point.
I'll tell you, there's sides of me that would love to, you know.
Why aren't then?
Honestly, the main reason is because I don't think my wife and I could do it. And she's more important to me than all this stuff. And my heart bleeds for politics. I love to stir people up and make them think about life. But I want to end my time on this earth
with your wife,
looking at my wife and going, "You're the last person I see."
Have you had anybody that has even shown any? I mean, I realize it's very early. Has anybody shown any interest whatsoever?
No.
Even nibbled at the bait?
Actually, this is the first place we've been able to put it out, and we're waiting for Saul's list. So if there's an independent out there, and I don't want anybody, you know, get a hold of me. Go online, rickdancer.com. Email me, rick@rickdancer.com. Telephone me. I'm not going to get my phone on the air, but you can find it on the internet.
Yeah.
But that's really where the opening is. And I think, can I talk about something else while we're here? Just it has to do with that whole thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was motorboat.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I want to do. Okay. So here's what I want people to know about motor voter. So it sounds really good because it's going to get people to vote, right? Well, okay.
Okay.
Well, the bottom line.
If you say so.
Well, that's what the salespeople tell us. So if you go,
because that's what's keeping people from voting, because it's so hard to sign a piece of paper to send it in to vote. If you are not willing to sign a piece of paper to send it in to vote, what are the chances are you're going to sign a piece of paper to actually vote?
So, right, or do some homework and actually, I'd like to see more informed voters. I'd like to see less people that don't even give a rip or just put into the system. And that's what's really happening. Is so you go in to get a driver's license, and I even went in to get mine. I'd lost mine and I had to get it replaced. He goes, "Do you want to change your party affiliation?" And I'm like, "No." But they have to ask you that now. So if you haven't registered to vote, they register you to vote. And if you don't pick a party, so if you don't care, if you don't give a rip, and you go in there and say, you want to be a Democrat, a Republican, a Green Party, a Family Party? No. Then they sign you up as a non-affiliated voter. So here's the little secret that nobody talks about, that the designers know. See, they don't want the independent party in the primary.
Absolutely
Because
not.
we spoil everything. Because right now, the Republicans and Democrats own the process. That's crap. I can say that on the air.
Yeah.
And so what this does is they're going to get so many non-affiliated voters in the voter pool that we won't have our 5% in 2017. So we'll get kicked back out. Democrats and Republicans own the process. Same old garbage happens. And then they all do it with a big smile on their face and say, but we're doing it because we want more people to vote. They don't want more people to vote. They want more people in the voter pool, and they still want to control the process. And we're going to go out and get that message out to people so that folks go, wait a minute. I mean, wake up. You know, that's what's going on. And we do need, I'd like to see the Green Party in the primary. I'd like to see the Family Party. And, you know, what is it about this 5%? I understand we want to have some kind of, you know, contact, but it's like, you look at Lane County, fewer people are registering, more people registered non-affiliated and independent than registered Democrat and Republican, by far, huge numbers. So people are losing interest in the stuff they're seeing in Congress right now, the stuff they're seeing in the state of Oregon, one party running everything, and I don't care which party it is. I want balance, and I think the only way to get balance is we're tipping the scale on the right and left. We need to get a bigger block in the middle where people really are, and get those people on the outside to either work and do something or shut up. That's just my opinion.
Is that your opinion? Is that the way you feel?
Yeah,
Is that the way?
Yeah, I kind of have strong feelings about that. But I just, you know, I really do believe. I really do believe that people have a voice and a right to their voice in this process. And I wish that, and I think that the political world says it wants to hear that, but they really like ignorant voters. They'd love to have people uninformed and not knowing what's going on. And I think we as people, if we want this to stop, we got to quit complaining about it and start doing something. So if we can just take small steps, get some independent people in those party positions, in those legislative seats, then all of a sudden the Democrats and Republicans are forced to work with each other and with these other people. Because if I'm an independent, hey, Democrats got got a great idea. I can do that because I'm not one of the Republicans and I'm not a Democrat. Republicans have a good idea. I can go do that because I'm in the middle looking at what's best for Oregon, not what's best for the independent party of Oregon. And that's the big problem is, you know, when I ran and Kate and I were doing our thing, I got along with her great. She's a wonderful person. But I could say so much more because she had people controlling the message that she could say. The Republicans couldn't control my message because I'm not very controllable, which is why I think I got 47% of the vote, is because they'd say, Rick, you can't say that. And I'm going, well, I can. And I did. And maybe that's why I lost. I don't know. But, man, I sure...
you got close.
I did it the right way, at least the way I thought. You know, when I used to interview people, I go, I'm never going to not answer a question. You know, and my consultant people, okay, don't answer when they ask you that. Take it back to the message. And I'm going, no, I'm a news guy. You have to answer questions. I hate when politicians don't answer my questions.
Yeah, when they stick to the message.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell they get into that continuous loop of PR spin.
Oh, Bob Packwood used to be the worst, and I like Bob, but he used to he was the worst. You'd get him going, so Bob, what color is the sky? You know, when we put blacktop on a parking lot, it's just to protect the people's cars and their tires, Rick. You know, and you'd go, what the heck does that have to do with it?
Wyden is a classic now. Wyden is the classic example of that.
But and you get
Ron
that still.
Oh, it's just like, I mean, to the point where your eyes almost glaze over.
Well, yeah.
When talking to Ron Wyden, because he does, it's just, he stays on that singular message regardless of what you ask.
See, I think what your listeners and people out there should do is just really start looking at, if you're, you know, I used to have a boss, Alan Beck. I hope you're out there listening somewhere. It's the greatest news director I ever had because when people, you know, newsrooms are full of complainers. And so he used to say, you can come in my newsroom and you can complain as long as you have a solution. If you don't have a solution, get the hell out of my office. And so people would walk in there and they'd start complaining. He'd go, what's the solution? And I don't have one. I just need to get out. And I mean, and I think that's how I feel about people out there who whine. It's like if you don't have a solution, then you don't get the opportunity to whine. The other thing is, if you don't vote and you're not educated in vote, I don't have to listen to you because you're not doing anything to help the process. And your old excuse that, oh, they don't listen to me anyway. Well, they're not going to listen if you don't say anything. And casting a vote, an educated vote, is how you participate in this whole game. That's just my thing. So if anybody's out there wants to be an independent person and you want to go in there and you're thinking about running for office, you need to get a hold of us because we'd love to help you. And oh, yes, P.S., you do have to raise your own money. I'm not raising money for anyone ever again in my life. Period.
that makes me laugh.
Is there somebody that you, like, if you could handpick somebody, and I realize this is on the air, but if there's somebody that is out there that you go, that person or their clone would be the person that I would...
I don't have anybody. Honestly, if I sit and think of all the political people like that, I think most of the people I know are too Republican or too Democrat.
Well, okay, somebody that's not in politics is more what I'm asking.
Right now, I don't. But you know, like I said, if I had a list of people or people, you know, said, hey, I know somebody, that's who we're going to contact. And I hope that there's people that are interested enough that says, you know, hey, I think I could do that because this is an open seat and Val's moving on to some bigger and better things, she hopes. And all we've got is two Democrats in there. And
she's going to get slaughtered by Brad Avakian. That's just my opinion. Okay, so you want to before we let you go here.
Are you going to hurt me?
I don't know, probably. Rick Dancer, a Republican that can't make it as a Republican anymore. Compromise is not a platform. What are they compromising to achieve? Bigger government. There you go.
Read it to me again. I was laughing. I'm not at the question.
You're not at the question. Rick Dancer, a Republican that can't make it as a Republican anymore. Compromise is not a platform. What are they compromising to achieve? Bigger government?
Compromise is not a platform. Compromise is a lifestyle. I mean, really, you have to compromise. I think that's the problem right now is people do not want to. We all want to stand in our box and say, they're wrong, they're doing it this way, this is how I do it. You go out and talk to Oregonians, most Oregonians, and they're willing to have compromise. I mean, they're willing to see something happen because it's not working what we're doing now. And I don't think compromise is bad. I used to get people on the campaign and they'd say, you're either an R or a D or you're on the fence. And I'm going, no. That's not where I am. I have very strong opinions on how we spend our money. but I can also compromise on some of that as well. I have very strong opinions on social issues in town. You know, I just interviewed Kitty Piercy on my show and talked about her. I think it's great that she opened up the conversation about what to do about folks downtown, the travelers.
The travelers?
Yeah,
that
the people.
She just noticed after how many years?
I know, but the
Did she ever go downtown before? I mean,
I do,
Did she just like one day decide that she was going to go down and see a food cart just for the fun of it and went, what the hell is going on here?
Or another idea might be that, you know, she's not running again. This is a political thing. So she's not running again, and she does see a problem, and now's the opportunity she can bring it up. Because if she brought it up before, and I don't know this, she didn't tell me this, but this is my looking at the brighter side maybe, is I think she has an opportunity to help Eugene come up with some ideas, and she knows she's not running again, so that constituency is not going to vote against her. And so you have opportunity to do something like that. Now, again, I'm not speaking for Kitty, but whatever her reasons are, she's bringing up a topic that we do need to have a conversation about. Too late, too little. I think we can get wrapped up in the details, but the bottom line is something does need to be done about that, because my office is near there, and I walk downtown, and it is a little uncomfortable. And I don't want to go throwing people out of the place, but I do think we need to have a conversation and say, what do we do? And do they know our expectations? And do we have an expectation? I mean, do we have a standard for what we want in our downtown area? And I think that's what we as a community need to have, that conversation. And I think that's great that she opened the door.
Okay, so to quote Alan Beck, I mean, you talk about having a problem with people downtown by your office. What is your solution?
I like what Kitty and I were talking about this, and somebody had come to her and say, maybe we need to go down and tell these folks what the expectation is. So have a conversation. What I would do is go down. I'm thinking of taking my camera down actually for my show and talking to some folks down there and say, what brings you here? Why are you here? What are you doing? And then also ask questions of them to say, do you know what, as a community, what this does to our downtown area? And then we need to, as a community, I think, come up with do we want people just sitting all over the streets downtown, or what are we going to do about that? We don't have a standard right now. We just let it go and we do nothing about it. So we haven't been clear, I don't think, as a community as to what we want to express that to these people and actually do something.
Do you think if you express that to them and ask them?
I think we have to first come up with what do we want to express to them. We're not even on a page where we can say this is a clear expectation. We don't want you down there, because you get in this conversation and people will say, well, you just have to leave them alone. And I think what I understand her saying is we need to have the conversation to find out what we really do need to do. And like I said, I'm not her spokesman. I'm not speaking for her. But I think she has opened a great conversation, and I think we as a community need to be willing to have it so we can come up with a solution to that.
Rick Dancer, if people are interested in joining the local independent group trying to get somebody to fill Val Hoyle's seat, where do they go? What do they do?
Email me at rick@rickdancer.com. You can go to my website, rickdancer.com, and there's phone numbers on there. You can find me. I'm pretty easy to find. On Facebook, you can find me anywhere.
All right. Thanks for being on the Wake Up Call this morning.
No, thanks for letting me come in. And Rob, it's good to see you guys, and we'll be back when...
If you find anybody.
I'll tell you what, if I find somebody, I'll bring them on the show. That'd be fun.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll go for it.
All right, thanks.
847 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
It's your money. And this is your Wake Up Call Market Report on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Investors are focused on the Fed today. Economists don't expect a rate rise, but will pore over the statement that will be released this afternoon for clues on what the Fed will do next. Stocks are higher ahead of that. Apple rising as it said it will have another record holiday. However, Twitter's results continue to fall short of expectations, with the fourth quarter sales outlook that missed estimates and another slowdown in user growth. IBM agreed to acquire the digital assets from Weather Company, which include the Weather Channel and Weather Underground apps and websites. IBM is attempting to strengthen its ability to crunch data for customers. The Weather Channel television property, which isn't part of the acquisition, will license weather forecast data from IBM under a long-term contract. Working to pay for college doesn't work. A new report from Georgetown said tuition is too high to make much of a difference. The average college student working full-time at minimum wage earns $15,080 annually before taxes. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg.
It's time to save at the fall clearance sales event going on right now at the Hertz Car Sales Superstores. The better way to buy a car.
Hey folks, Scott Hoysh here from Hertz Car Sales in Eugene. It's been such an exciting time here at Hertz Car Sales Superstore. Over the last few months, our inventory has nearly doubled. And as our customers have discovered, more inventory equals more choices and lower prices for you. And with more than 1,000 vehicles in our Superstore inventory, you're sure to find the choice and savings all in one place for all types of credit. It also means we're hosting our biggest fall clearance sales event ever at Hertz Car Sales right here in Eugene. During the fall clearance sales event, on approved credit, you can get 1.99% financing up to 60 months and no payments for 3 months. Remember, only at Beltline and West 11th, where Hertz Car Sales Superstore will save you money.
Stop in and see our biggest selection in years on West 11th, just off the Beltline, and always online at HertzEugene.com. Hertz Car Sales of Eugene, the better way to buy a car.
Gunrunner Arms in Junction City believes in education. Gunrunner Arms offers concealed carry classes and in combination with Wendigo Tactical actual pistol training to complement class time. Gunrunner Arms also has day-long reloading classes with hands-on expert training to learn safe and reliable reloading techniques. Keep your weapon investments secure with U.S.-built Liberty safes. Gunrunners has safes that can hold dozens of weapons to single-pistol biometric safes. Gunrunner Arms at the intersection of Highways 99 and 36 in Junction City. Vet-owned and Second Amendment proud.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local, family-owned Mazama is your fishing headquarters with brands like G. Loomis, St. Croix, Shimano, Daiwa, and a variety of locally made products tailor-made for this region. Team Mazama is eager and knowledgeable.
Plus, they offer layaway on firearms and fishing gear.
Pick up your hunting and fishing license while you're there. Conveniently located on West 11th in the same parking lot as Lowe's. Get to Mazama and get hooked on the good life. When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Hello, I'm Paul, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is my professor, Dr. Larry Arnn, on the separation of church and state.
America's founders believed in the separation of church and state, in that the country was not to have an official religion or an official sect. But that did not mean that government was to be hostile to religion, or even indifferent to religion, as many today argue. In fact, America's founding document, the Declaration of Independence, includes both a reference to God as the author of the laws of nature and a confident assertion that human beings are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Far from being hostile or indifferent to religion, America's founders understood the theology of the Declaration to be an essential part of the education of citizens.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.org.
Hi, I'm Eric Harple with Realty One Group. You've heard our ads with Glenn Beck and Lars Larson for years, and like they said, I have been the top real estate agent in Lane County for more than 5 years. But honestly, who cares? What I care about is helping you get your home sold for the most money possible within your time frame. My team and I help more home sellers sell than any other agent, and most at full price or more. How? Massive marketing. When you're number one, you can do things the others can't. I'm not bragging, I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor, and if you're not happy, fire me. Mind you, I think you'll be happy because our bulletproof listing offers flexible commissions, the right to sell it yourself, cancel anytime. You're in control. We sell homes for top dollar regardless of the time of year, and we put the money in your pocket. For a free information package, call 541-286-3030. Call Harple Real Estate countywide 541-286-3030 or harplehomes.com. Thank you.
The most accurate forecast now. We have weather every 10 minutes during Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, you need to take your umbrella. We've been tracking showers off and on throughout the night as the cold front's moving through the area. Now, temps out there right now are in the upper 40s to low 50s. We've got winds out of the west at 5 to 10 with a few gusts up to 15. We are looking to pick up about a 1/10 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch. Now, throughout your day, we expect light rain off and on. And we are expecting another burst of energy this evening to bring another 1/4 of an inch to a 1/10 of an inch. Today's highs will be in the mid to low 60s out there under mostly cloudy skies. We may get a couple hours around lunch of partly cloudy, but both systems look to be on target. Now, we are tracking another system for the weekend, maybe bringing showers in just in time for the trick-or-treaters. We'll keep a close eye on it for you, but it's starting to look like a wet Halloween. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
All right. They used to be sleep country. Now they're sleep trained. And you may think, oh, well, that means everything's changed and they're not as cool as they used to be. Well, actually, no, that's not the case. They are just as cool. And they have the cute little whistle thing. All right. I mean, that's one thing you have to say. Like the whistle better than that weird ding. Anyway, they're having mattress price wars at Sleep Train, and that's where brands are compromising and competing, and you're saving money, like on Simmons Beauty Rest and Sealy Posturepedics, where you can save up to $400 on either of those two brands. Or you can sleep interest-free until 2018 with no money down on all Tempur-Pedics on approved credit with 36 equal monthly payments required. And, you know, along with all of this stuff, you're still going to get the same guaranteed lowest price over anywhere else that you go. 5% up to 100 days after you purchase your mattress. Sleep Train, still good people, still the same experts that you've come to expect from your visits to Sleep Country before, and they're in the same locations.
Yeah, they got it down to an art form, getting you into bed. Something that I can't necessarily say. Go check them out. It's how it should be done, and you're going to wish that you had other business transactions the same way, because they got it down, and they want you to be happy, and they want you to get a good night's rest. Who else can say that? Sleep Train in Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem. And tell them you like this with the wake-up call. It's your ticket to a better night's sleep. Sleep Train.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is my profound pleasure to introduce
The Wake-Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Boy, active roadways today. Oregon 126 getting word of a crash investigation. And that's at 7.51, probably about the same area that we were talking about the overturn, I'm assuming, there in 126. A couple other things that were happening. Just know this, even though it's not coming down cats and dogs, we still got a lot of standing water out there. Probably some of those leaves backing up drainage, and could be a little bit of flooding here and there. Some other issues to think about as you negotiate the roadways and get to your destination. Tomorrow, Thursday, Conley in the Ader, and boy, we have a full schedule already. I want to talk about some historical radio. If you're a fan of the Radio Redux, going to have Dennis Wright in, and hope to see you sometime between 6:09 and say 9 o'clock.
Also, too, if you run a business, manage a business, or something like that, and you've been wondering about, legalized marijuana, how that affects your, your employee policies, so on and so forth. Attorney Alan Thayer is going to be in, and we're going to be chatting about that exact issue about pot policy in the workplace. What can you do and what not? So that'll be tomorrow as well.
Cloudy and wet, 53 degrees. That's going to do it for us. Wake Up Call back at it tomorrow. Have a great day, and thank you for listening to 1120 KPNW.
This is an exciting announcement from Eugene Airport. Today is the day your life gets easier. Getting from point A to point B has never been more efficient. You can now fly nonstop from Eugene Airport to San Jose. That's right. There's now a new nonstop way to San Jose on Alaska Airlines. We're connecting the Silicon Valley to the Silicon Shire. Book your next flight today at alaskaair.com. Fly easy. Fly EUG.
Have you ever thought how great it'd be to have a little extra push in your pedal? Eugene Electric Bicycles can make that dream a reality. There are more models than you might imagine. You can even bring in your own bike, and chances are they can convert it. Best of all, during October, all mid-drive bikes are $500 off. All mid-drive conversions, $350 off. That's substantial, and a really good reason for you to explore the reality of having that little extra push in your pedal. Eugene Electric Bicycles, downtown across from the 5th Street Market. Rediscover the joy of cycling.
Hey, Mom, what is that in the living room?
Oh, you mean my pole?
Your pole?
Yep. Honey, your mother has embraced the art of the exotic dance.
Oh, boy.
What was that website where you found your new job? You know, the one you love so much?
EugeneHelpWanted.com?
That's it. You said it's the best place to find great local employment.
Yeah, they have thousands of local jobs.
Well, I am ready to start gigging.
Gigging?
I need something nearby. I don't like to drive too far at night.
Okay, Mom.
I can use my phone to find it, right?
Of course.
Oh, there it is. That was fast.
Mom, here's the thing about EugeneHelpWanted.com.
What?
Well, you can upload your resume for free in just minutes, and really, it's a place for serious job seekers.
Well, I am serious, and I am very, very good at this. Here, let me show you.
Oh, please, Mom, no. No, Mom. Okay, what does Dad think about all this?
Oh, He's my Axeman.
Oh, Dad's the Axeman.
Albert, we're getting a gig.
EugeneHelpWanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
Woohoo!
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are higher before the Federal Reserve's policy statement, with the central bank expected to hold interest rates near zero later today. Snyder's-Lance agreed to buy Diamond Foods for about $1.27 billion to add Kettle potato chips, Pop Secret popcorn, and Emerald nuts to their offerings, which include Cape Cod chips. Snyder's-Lance said the acquisition will help the company expand across Europe. Daily fantasy sports companies at the center of legal and regulatory debate about whether their games are gambling have agreed to the formation of a self-regulatory body led by former acting Secretary of Labor Seth Harris. The retirement savings accumulated by just 100 chief executives are equal to the entire retirement accounts of 41% of U.S. families. The Center for Effective Government and Institute for Policy Studies found that the 100 largest chief executive retirement funds are worth an average of about $49.3 million per executive, or a combined $4.9 billion. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The former House Speaker facing possible time in prison after pleading guilty in a hush money case. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has this live.
The deal recommends he serve no more than 6 months in prison, but the judge could give Dennis Hastert up to 5 years behind bars when he's sentenced February 29th. He pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. An indictment said Hastert had agreed to pay someone $3.5 million to hide past misconduct. We still don't know who that person is. The Associated Press, citing anonymous sources, has reported the payments were meant to hide claims of sexual misconduct from decades ago. Lisa.
Thanks, Tanya. House Republicans meeting now, expected to choose Paul Ryan as the nominee for tomorrow's House vote on replacing John Boehner as House Speaker. The House votes today on the bipartisan budget deal, criticized by conservatives.
It's a rotten deal. It stinks, and I haven't met one Republican outside of Washington who thinks it's a good idea to give unlimited borrowing power to the president and to bust the budget cap.
Senator Rand Paul plans a filibuster. He's in Colorado for tonight's debate, the third round for Republicans. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live in Boulder.
Dr. Ben Carson, the soft-spoken neurosurgeon, comes into the night with new front-runner status center stage with Donald Trump both ahead of establishment candidates.
I think it's only going to go from, July to, next July.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie trying to sell himself as a conservative who can govern in a blue state. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush also questions the experience of others in the field, lately taking aim at Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Lisa.
Jared, thanks. A federal judge has just blocked defunding Planned Parenthood in Alabama, issuing a preliminary injunction. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
If you are behind on your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt or medical bills forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. It's not bankruptcy, it's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven. Call for your free forgiveness information now. 800-719-2090. That's 800-719-2090. Don't wait. Call 800-719-2090.
Do you have a retirement account? Is it likely to go up 60% or down 60%? Wake up. Low interest rates support the market, and it won't last forever. It's time to hedge with solid gold. You will regret not doing so in the next market crash. Do it right. Don't pay a setup and storage fee. Discover how. Call Goldworth. Request the IRA guide free. Call 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. Visit Goldworth.com.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Deb Carson.
Game 1 of the World Series turned out to be the longest opening game in World Series history. The Mets were 2 outs away from winning the contest. Bottom of the ninth, though, 1 out. Alex Gordon hit a solo shot to tie it at 4-all. Cut to the 14th inning. It was the Royals getting a win, courtesy of Eric Hosmer's RBI sac fly. Kansas City beat the Mets 5-4 in 14 innings. Game 2 comes up tonight at 8 Eastern on Fox TV. Johnny Cueto on the hill for Kansas City. Jacob deGrom will start for for the Mets. NHL, well, Montreal had started the season 9-0. They finally got a loss last night. Canadians losing to the Canucks 5-1. Opening night in the NBA, the defending champion Warriors beat the Pelicans 111-95. 40 points for MVP Steph Curry. Bulls beat the Cavaliers 97-95. And the Pistons won in Atlanta 106-94 over the Hawks.
Mattress Mania is offering super-size savings. Supersize your queen mattress to a king size for only $1. Save like crazy. Mattress Mania in Eugene, Springfield, Albany, and Corvallis.
Hunters and gun enthusiasts, deer season is here and elk season is just around the corner. Stop in and see the guys at SM Gun Shop. And parents, bring in pictures of your kids hunting and get 10% off. SM Gun Shop thanks everyone for participating in the Brzezinski recall. And remember, the elections are coming. SM Gun Shop off River Road in Eugene.
Take your classic hot rod, muscle car, or modern ride to a whole new level. Metalworks has all of your high-performance parts on-site at guaranteed low prices. Metalworks' expert know-how will help you down the road. Check out our latest dream rides from around the globe at metalworksclassics.com. We're off West 11th at 1045 Aerosmith Street in Eugene. Trucks, performance, classic restoration, Metalworks. Rebuild your dream.
What does better mean to you? Better is coffee with a view. Better is a berry from the vine. Better is the journey. At Providence, we know there are many paths to better health. No matter how you define it, Providence Medicare Advantage plans can help you achieve your better. With Providence, you get a no-cost gym membership with all of our plans and access to thousands of providers in and out of Providence facilities. Talk to us about which plan is best for you. Call 1-866-948-5147. That's 1-866-948-5147. We're here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Providence Medicare Advantage plans. Better you, better world. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, co-payments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits may change on January 1st of each year. The provider network may change at any time. You will receive notice when necessary.
It's 9:06 and time for Rush. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
What's it going to be tonight? Going to be the debate? Or going to be the World Series? Have to mix business and pleasure. Have to choose between one or the other. I obviously have to choose business. Watching the debate tonight because a bunch of people are promising fireworks tonight in debate. John Kasich has had it. He's fed up with it all. He doesn't understand what's happened to his party or conservatism. Guess he hasn't looked in the mirror. And Jeb Bush says that he's loaded for bear. He's finally figured out what he wants to do, and it's this debate tonight. And all of the Republicans are fighting over the green rooms that they were assigned tonight at the debate. Trump, of course, got the biggest one with the big flat screen and the big chairs. And Chris Christie got a green room where the most predominant object in it is the toilet. His campaign guys ran. They put us in a bathroom for crying out loud. I'd say if you guys are focusing on the green room, how much time are you going to be in the green room? I mean, the green room.